Hello and welcome back to Serie A Spotlight. We're your hosts Jake
And Matt.
You know what time it is!
I can't tell you guys enough how much you've been my internal monologue when thinking about football for the last year.
Yes! Amazing! We get to record while drinking some wine. Jake and I will have a very special soft spot for Salernitana.
we love him.
We love him. Stop zooming in on Allegri's face, bro. You're gonna make
How
me
are you
break.
exposing me?
Because you're gonna make me break, man.
Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of Serie A Spotlight. This is episode 190 and we're your hosts Jake
And Matt.
here to take you through all the action in Matchday 4 in Serie A.
And of course, it is highlighted by our, as you could see from our outfits, actually, Roma against the Oasis.
Exactly.
We had Lazio 0 Roma 1 in the Derby della Capitale. That will take up a large chunk of our time. Of course, it was the hero of Rome, obviously Lorenzo Pellegrini, with another derby goal that sealed the victory over there.
His fourth one against them.
Yes, sir. With a
And
nice
quite
little...
possibly his last because his contract is set to expire.
And they've been trying to get rid of him for an entire summer, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
Of course, Lazio's Nuno Tavares made his life a little bit easier over there. We'll then jump to Udinese 0, Milan 3. Another clean sheet for Milan, another clean victory for Allegri's men, and just really impressive stuff over there. Napoli 3, Pisa 2. Really good goals in this game. A really entertaining Monday night fixture. Once again, Napoli getting a bit too lax at the end, allowing the other team to get into it. Maybe a bit of a chink in the armor that we're starting to see over there in Napoli.
And it took a massive save at the end from Meret to actually confirm this victory because it could have easily ended 3-3. A very brave performance by Pisa, but also a good performance by Napoli before the majority of the game as well.
Yep, shades of the Fiorentina game where they also had to rely on their goalkeeper. I believe that was Vanya who made a save on Piccoli towards the end of that game as well. Hellas 1, Inter 2, Sassuolo 1. Inter getting one over their bogey team. Of course, Inter had Champions League football midweek, but they did well to get the result that they needed. Perhaps not the best performance. It took a Muharemovic own goal as well, but a goal from open play as well for Inter, which is quite positive. Hellas 1, Juve 1. Of course, Juve also had Champions League football, a 4-4 thriller, actually, against Dortmund, so they were a little bit fatigued. You could see it in this game, but they did have another problem, and that was the referee, who has since, I believe, also been suspended, clear red card, and a controversial penalty handed to Hellas Verona. Fiorentina 1, Como 2. Another super disappointing result for Fiorentina over here. I'm running out of excuses for them. That's 2 draws and 2 losses. A game of 2 halves. First half, I thought Fiorentina started pretty strong, but was all calm on the second half as Fiorentina really couldn't contain them.
Yeah, and you could hear the displeasure of the fans as they expressed themselves. They were chanting at the end of the game, show us your balls.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, like the direct translation is literally like, show us your balls or get your balls out or something like that.
It's like, let's see your grinta.
Yeah, show us some passion, basically.
Exactly.
Show us, like, play for the shirt, basically.
In a really derelict stadium as well. It's a bit, I wouldn't want to be one of the players over there. The atmosphere is off, the results are off, they're settling into Pioli still. Pioli seems to be trying to change things around, but nothing seems to be working. We'll get into all of that as well. Bologna 2, Genoa 1. Bologna didn't make it easy for themselves, but of course Genoa didn't make it easy for Bologna. Did take a last-minute penalty converted by Orsolini and an earlier Castro goal to get them the victory over there. Nice for my Fanta. Torino 0, Atalanta 3. All goals took place between the 30th minute to the 38th minute. Which is really telling for both teams. I feel like Torino, if they go through a bad spell, it's possible to do that against them. And Atalanta are a team that smell blood. We had seen it once under Juric so far, but good signs for Atalanta to be able to have those instincts in them. Lecce 1, Cagliari 2. Guess who's back? Gallo Bellotti is back, my friends, with a doppietta. That is 2 wins on the trot for Cagliari. That is 2 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss for Pisacane's men, whose only loss were to the champions Napoli with a last-minute Anguissa goal. Very impressive stuff by Cagliari. Come on, Cagliari. Come on, Cagliari. And we will end things off with Cremonese 0, Parma 0. As Parma continue to struggle to score, they are still winless. Cremonese, on the other hand, are one of the few teams that haven't lost a game yet. And, they didn't concede a goal over here. So I would say overall, positive result once again for Cremonese.
They'll take it. They don't mind drawing these against their direct rivals as long as they're beating the big guys. And
Exactly.
They'll have that over them.
Exactly, which is exactly what they're doing. Also, Coppa Italia action tonight. Right now, there is Cagliari against Frosinone. Later on, there will be Udinese against Palermo, really, really nice one. And Milan against Lecce. Of course, this episode is being recorded on the 23rd of September, and it is currently 18:14, baby. Jake,
Yes.
goal of the week, baby.
Goal of the week. Mine was I wasn't ready at all. A day's winner for Como against Fiorentina. I think that was the best one. There were some very nice goals. There was Spinazzola's goal as well, which was absolutely lovely. It was I wouldn't say a bullet, but it was a long-ranged effort that was well placed. He caught the keeper off guard, and I think he took advantage as well of the fact that there were some bodies between him and the keeper. So the keeper's view was kind of blocked. But for me, Schemper should have done better over there. They're calling him Schemper, by the way, not Semper.
Okay, we're rocking with Schemper.
We're rocking with Schemper.
We're rocking
now.
with Schemper.
Yeah.
Schemper got a hand to the ball.
Yeah.
But it's always tough when you've got all those bodies in front of you and you don't have a clear view of the strike. Good to mention as well that Addai's goal was in the last minute of the game.
Absolutely.
Something I didn't mention in the rundown.
The dribbling was really nice. I mean, it was a solo goal, like a solo of a goal, as you'll see. Like he
I'm going
literally-
right. No, I'm going left.
Exactly.
I'm going right. Ah!
Then he cuts to the byline and hoofs it over the keeper. He blasts it over the hair. Lovely goal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Similar finish to what we saw from Lucca this week as well. His first goal for Napoli, of course. My goal of the week, not that anyone asked me, was Mandragora's goal against Como, the opener, of course. One of my least favorite things a footballer can do is hit a free kick straight into the wall and then shoot again when the ball rolls back at him. Like, you had your chance, man. Relax.
Yeah.
Clearly, it's not your day. Terrible free kick from Mandragora. The way that he hits that follow-up, the way with his outstep, low hard, curling between 2 opposition players straight into the bottom corner as a bullet. Jeez Louise, what a goal.
It was
passionate
lovely.
celebration. And Mandragora is currently, like, for Fiorentina, that diamond in the rough, kind of like Reinders was for Milan last year, because he's scoring. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, fair enough. Honorable mentions as well, because obviously I can imagine as a fan, for example, let's say Napoli or Juve fans right now listening will be like, hey, what about...
You're so biased, you're so biased.
So first of all, Castro's goal was lovely as well. They squared it into the box to Castro and he scored with his outstep as well. That was very instinctive, very nice. Conceição's goal was lovely. He cut inside, a bit fortunate with the first one, but then he faked and dribbled another man and then placed it really lovely.
That was a
lovely
brilliant goal, actually. Brilliant goal.
Yeah, it was like Arjen Robben-esque.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kedira as well, who teed off a lovely team move for Sassuolo against Inter. Gilmore, who rolled the ball after a fake shot and completely took out the defender. That was a lovely goal as well. And of course, Spinazzola for his long range shot.
Beautiful stuff. Decent goals this week. We've had better weeks, of course, but those are all slightly above average. Before we get into anything, of course, Benevo bid.
Can I also take your phone to pull up the Fanta?
Yes, of course.
Because I
here you go, my
have time
dude.
to prepare it.
Let me do this in the meantime.
Of course.
So Benevo bid, obviously, our media partners. Click the link in our bio. They've got some classics, some vintage kits signed. And there's actual proof on their Instagram that Zanetti signed this 2010 Inter kit and Grosso signed that 2006 Italy kit. Most of the proceeds go to charity, so hit the link in our bio and get your bids in nice and early. If you're new here, make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube, and wherever we are. And rate us 5 stars on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. We do weekly episodes covering every single match, every single team, every single week, and even have bonus additional episodes called Tactics Imperium by our football analyst Gianluca Lia. if you really, really, really love us and want us to be doing more quality content and keep improving our setup and maybe one day quit our jobs, become a patron. It's $3.99 a month and you'll be added to a Discord channel with 50 plus like-minded legends with multiple different channels for multiple different discussions, and you can also win a free kit from us if you win our fantasy league. So the money you're investing in us might also make its way back to you. You've charmed me.
Brilliant. You've charmed
me.
Inter Your Mom is currently first in our 44-man fantasy football league.
Louise.
Yes, he is David Vavra.
Not only is he first, but he's fucking my mom as well.
Exactly. Inter Your Mom. There you go. There's also second place. We have SSC Dreesnut.
Yeah.
Just lagging behind with 312.5 points. Inter Your Mom, of course, with 316.5. Lotito Vendere Vattene, of course, that's our resident Lazio fan. That's David Mastro Battista himself in third place. With keen friend, of course, Kyler in fourth. I love the name Kyler. It's like Kyle with an R.
Just like spice it up.
Yeah.
Kyle? No, Kyler.
Yeah. We're gonna name him Kyler. Tyler or Kyler?
It's like Skyler, but for men, right?
Yeah.
And
then Sheik Retegi in fifth, and I believe, I'm pretty confident that's Tim. Yes, that must be Tim.
Has to be.
Yeah, has to be Tim. Shout out Tim, our boy Tim.
Tim, where am I?
I had a pretty decent week until Meret conceded 2.
Zanetti's asshole, which is me. I'm in 12th, dog. That's pretty good. This style of Fanta, that's my jam. This is the Fanta I'm good at.
This is fun.
My God, Jake is scrolling for days to find himself.
I'm 27th, Saponara Seaman.
That's
not doing
my lucky
very well.
number. And where's your Gyaldem?
My Gyaldem is all the way up in 15th, and her team name is Bad Daddy. I love Skamaka.
Oh my God. You won't love your father-in-law if you love Skamaka, or your great father-in-law, whatever they call him. You might find a scratch on your car if you hurt him. Yep. Shall we get into it, brother? Shall we start with the Derby della Capitale?
Yes, this derby, of course, was played on Sunday in the blistering heat, 35 degrees Celsius at 12:30.
I can't scratch my balls in 35 degrees.
What's going on with the planning in Serie A? Why did they schedule it at such a strange time? The thing was to keep the peace, right? To give people as little time to drink and to get rowdy as possible.
That's bullshit.
Well,
day drinking is the best kind of drinking, of course.
Yes, there have been, prior to this game, there were 92 official derbies hosted by Lazio. And Lazio have actually won 32 of them. And there were 30 draws and now 31 victories for Roma.
Make sure to check out Jake's History channel, guys.
Yes, Roma's most recent win against Lazio in Serie A, away from home specifically, was in December 2016.
Jeez.
Yes, since then 10 city derbies have been played. 6 won by Lazio and 4 ending in draws, and now of course 1 won by Roma. That one that they won in 2016, the goals were scored by Strutman and Nainggolan.
Oh wow, very fond memories of that team. A team with that's a team that will show you their balls.
Facing off in this game were the 2 current oldest coaches in the Serie A. Yes, and that's it. Yes, when it comes to direct encounters between Sarri and Gasperini, Sarri actually leads 7 wins to 6 against Gasperini, so it's pretty even.
Mm-hmm. The two eldest managers, life expectancy very different, I would say, though.
I think so. Yes, fair. That's a fair point. Did I mention that this was a sponsorless derby?
Oh yes,
yes. There wasn't a single sponsor in sight, and it looked so clean. It was very aesthetically pleasing.
Yes, but as a commercial guy myself, someone is doing a terrible job over there.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, sponsorless derby, and we're a sponsorless podcast. If you would like to sponsor us, please reach out. You can just DM us on Instagram. We're like that. We're casual. Don't send us an email. Send us an email. We won't see it.
Don't send us your CV, man.
Don't you dare send us your CV. So Roma have bounced back after their slip-up against Torino and this was a pretty gritty 1-0 victory thanks to Lorenzo Pellegrini's 38th minute strike, his 4th Derby goal in 17 appearances. When it comes to the lineups, of course, it was a 4-3-3 for Sarri's men, with Provedel in goal, Marusic, Hila, Romagnoli and Nuno Tavares at the back, with Guendouzi, Rovella and Dele Bashiru in the middle, Pedro and Zaccagni out wide, with Boulaye Dia up front. It's important to mention that Dele Bashiru did go off injured quite early and was replaced by Belayan, who was later sent off. For Roma, it was a 3-4-1-2 with Svilar in goal, Celik, Mancini and Indica at the back, with Rensch and Angelino as wing-backs, Cristante and Kone in the middle, with Pellegrini playing in the pocket behind Ferguson and Sule.
Another low-key experiment by Gasperini.
I mean, he
Classic
had Dybala, Hermoso and Wesley out. So he surprised everyone, to be honest, by slotting Pellegrini into the 10. I didn't expect it at all. And shout out to Cesco, because he called it from the beginning.
I hate myself, man.
He said, if you want to win money, bet that Pellegrini will score. And I hit him with a psst, like a good one. I mean, he's done it before, but it's definitely not going to happen again,
It's the equivalent of saying Pedro's going to score, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's bloody happened. Unbelievable. Yes, risky choice, but a decisive choice at the end of the day. So Roma started
just
quite
on that note, sorry. But there was also another bet that they did when they were watching the game with us, which was Guendouzi red card. And when they got the red card in like the 98th minute, they lost their mind. I didn't get the money because it happened after the final whistle was blown, but it was crazy, man.
Exactly, that was unbelievable to me. They celebrated so
they couldn't believe it. It was so random.
It was. But
the
game had ended already, of course. Roma started flat and they struggled against Sarri's zonal pressing system, and in fact they didn't manage a shot for nearly 30 minutes. The breakthrough came only when Rensch pressed high, typical Gasperini football, high pressing, very intense, and forced Nuno Tavares into a mistake, sparking the move for the winner when eventually they played the ball to Pellegrini, who slotted it home. Then you could see Zaccagni and Nuno Tavares kind of having a back and forth, with Zaccagni telling him off. We'll talk about that later on and what you think about it. So Roma's lead was anything but comfortable. Boulaye Dia in the second half was set free, basically, because Gasperini's system is a high line, high pressing, high intensity. One bad mistake from the back and you're one-on-one. And in fact, Mancini misplaced a pass, and all of a sudden Boulaye Diaz running in behind with the other two centre-backs legging it, trying to catch up to him, and Mancini literally passenger as Indica and Celik tried to catch him, but he got the shot off and he failed to hit the target. That was pretty horrible from Dia. The XG on that miss was 0.60.
My God, man.
Yeah, quite a bad miss. You have to hit the target.
It's disappointing. It's just him and Tati. He has a great opportunity to make himself the starter, because Tati isn't faultless either. Yeah, exactly. At the end, Cataldi's shot deflected off the post. Tati Castellanos had a shot that just went narrowly wide. And at the start of the game, to be honest, I might as well mention it, because the chances this game, you could count them on one hand. There was a Zaccagni's looping shot that almost caught Svilar off his line. But yes, Belayan got sent off in the 80-something minute. It was the 86th exactly, and then Guendouzi got sent off after halftime. For me, this game, bro, was pretty even. What do you think? I thought it was. I think Roma did a good job of, until the Boulaye Dia chance, I think it was still even, but I don't think Lazio really threatened with any clear-cut chances. That was a clear-cut chance, and the post at the end, it just shows the fragility of a 1-0 advantage. So an even game, Roma did enough, but it was such a slender lead that it could have changed that at any point throughout the game.
Exactly.
In future, it could really bite them in the ass. In fact, in the 3 victories that they have, Roma, I believe they're all 1-0 wins. This is the derby away from home, so it's a little bit different, but quite even. Lazio had their chances. I won't say they didn't have their chances.
Yes, I would say so. And I really liked the way Gasperini set up. This was typical a typical looking. It was an Atalanta looking Roma almost. I mean, obviously the intensity seemed to be much lower because of the conditions: 35 degrees, 12:30 Sunday, whatever. Derby, tense, etc., etc. But for example, he deployed Pellegrini in that position, and his main job was to press Rovella, to apply as much pressure as possible on the register. A very clever move, of course. The defenders did a lot of 1v1 man marking, and they often won. But then the one time it didn't work with Mancini, the one mistake they made, one-on-one chance. You know what I mean? So it was literally, it was like classic Gasperini, this game. He seems to be, just adapting to the team in front of him, and he's learning what he can and can't do. So he learned last week that maybe Sule and the ball up front together from the start won't work. But maybe Pellegrini in the 10 is an option now. You know?
And Pellegrini in the 10 screams Pasalic in the 10.
Exactly.
In a certain way. And the front two also screams Lukman alongside Retegui or Lukman alongside Scamacca, if that were ever the case, really. But yes, you're absolutely right to say it was almost like a classic Gasperini plug and play, just this time into an entirely different squad from Atalanta. Just typically they tend to score more goals, Gasperini's teams, so they would afford to make that mistake at the back. But as it stands, Roma need to be really faultless to hold on to these victories, because it will often be the case that either Villar will have to bail them out, or a striker missing a chance would have to bail them out, because these slender leads, again, they're quite stressful for any team to go through. Yes.
In fact, in the final third, they're not really clicking, Roma, and I'm not sure. I mean, the fact that there are many new players over there. So you have Ferguson, who's new. You have Pellegrini, who's been low on confidence for a long time. And Sule, kind of like, who's just started. He's at the beginning.
First full season, Sule, because he was implemented quite late last year.
Very good point. And then you have Dybala as well, who kind of is on and off with injuries. You know how it is. So he's still learning what he's got. I think he's blessed with that midfield, because I think that Kone, for example, is an absolute animal. What a player, man.
Yeah.
And we recently posted on our Instagram as well, start, bench, sell between Kone, Rabiot and Thuram of Juve. And I feel like that's a very difficult question to answer.
Yeah. They're exactly the same profile, though. Those guys, just slight different strengths.
I would say that... There's so I'd say the most complete of the lot is Juve's Thuram, I would say.
I would say so. I think he's the one with the highest output. I would start Kefrem. I would bench Kone. I think Kone is such a strong replacement for him, and it pains me to say sell Rabiot, because Rabiot has been phenomenal since he's
been amazing for Milan. But the main criticism with Rabiot is he often starts like this, right, when he joins a club, and then plateaus. So we have yet to see what he can do, of course. Shout out, we have to highlight some men and give them their flowers. We've already mentioned Wrench. Wrench stepped in for Wesley. He won 70% of his duels, and he forced the turnover that led to the goal. A very strong display by him. He looked great out there. Corner, of course, had 90 minutes of pure dominance, to be honest. Only 3 misplaced passes. He won 7 out of 12 duels, 2 out of 2 dribbles. He dominated the transitions as well. He was everywhere. And then, of course, Sule, for me, was the best one at 45 touches, 3 key passes, 3 out of 6 crosses completed, and the assist on Pellegrini's winner. He is Roma's main creative outlet nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to talk a bit about that Tavares back and forth with Zaccagni?
Yes.
I don't know if that was your next point, sorry.
No, but I mean, we should talk about it, because there are 2 sides to the argument, right? You've got the fact that a teammate should probably encourage a teammate after a mistake, right?
Yeah.
You should probably encourage him and help uplift him to get over it.
Sure.
But there are mistakes, and then there are mistakes, right? There are mistakes, costly errors, naive errors, schoolboy errors, quite frankly, because coaches tell you at a very young age not to take risks in your own area, not to take risks in that situation. And Nuno Tavares tried to be clever. He tried to dribble. Honestly, he cost his team the game for no reason. What was the point?
Yeah,
Try something risky in that situation.
He chose some time to try this risky thing as well, the Derby della Capitale. If there's one way you could make your fans lose all respect for you, it's to fuck up strongly in the Derby della Capitale. We saw what happened to Ibanez, for example, with Roma. With with that being said, I initially saw it, and then the first head was I didn't like it. I'm like, geez, man. He made a mistake. Now he's going to have a shit game because his captain yelled at him, But that was my emotional side. Come to think of it, though, this could be a recurring thing that takes place in training that we don't see, maybe takes place in matches that we don't watch, and Zaccagni and the entire team and Sarri could be telling Tavares, listen, stop doing that, and then he does it again and he fucks it up in the Derby della Capitale and they lose 1-0 exactly thanks to that. So if that is the case, then I wouldn't blame Zaccagni for giving him a bit of an earful. There's just certain things that we don't see, so I wouldn't be so I wouldn't hastily criticize Zaccagni for giving him an earful. Sometimes it's needed, If one of the best captains in history was Roy Keane, and he gave everyone an earful.
If I was a fan, I'd want to see that from Zaccagni.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, I'd like to see, first of all, Zaccagni stepping up and taking the role of a leader by improving his output, right, and leading and spearheading Lazio. But second of all, yes, hey, when someone's doing something like that, you want, if it's a mistake and it's an honest mistake, like he slipped, for example, or something like that, or he misplaced a pass, you can put an arm around him and you can help him get back up. But if it's something stupid like trying to dribble, I think your captain should be able to give the players an earful, right? It's his role. He's the leader.
Yeah, exactly. He's the player with the authority.
He sets
to do
the
that.
standards.
Exactly.
That's what the captain does. So yeah, absolutely. It's not nice to see, but sometimes it's necessary. Yes, so Roma can be happy with this victory, but they should be concerned about this late drop-off in matches. I think that having Bailey and Dybala both out kind of really limits them from staying into games offensively late on. So in fact, them sitting back and kind of inviting Lazio into the game might have been simply because of a lack of personnel.
Could be. I mean, they are quite narrow as things stand, and I'm a bit concerned about when they start Europa League football, how that's going to affect them, because they don't exactly have a team that isn't injury prone either. We're seeing Wesley picking up a knock as well. Pellegrini suffers from injuries. We've seen Kone out with injuries. Dybala invented injuries. Angelino has had his injuries as well. So I'm a bit concerned about the depth of their squad, and especially because they don't have particular players that can replace the profile of certain players, like who is going to replace Kone. I doubt it's gonna be Elainawi, at least maybe not efficiently in that sense. So it is a bit of a concern, and that molded with what we said earlier about them holding on to slender 1-0 leads. That could be a recipe for disaster. But you can't complain when they're getting these clean sheets, man, because clearly their defense, as they ended last season with a super tidy defense, and Ndika putting in these performances, and Celik regrown in this new position, and Mancini just being that anchor, albeit had an error in him in this game, and Svilar being an absolute octopus in goal. Clearly, I believe they have the best defense in the league behind Milan so far when it comes to goals conceded. I believe they have 1 goal conceded, and they're 1-0 lost to Torino. Yes. And they're 1-0 lost to Torino, and they took a Cholito tira a gira.
So they have conceded 1 goal, yes, they have,
and scored 3.
They have the best defense in the league. It's true.
When it comes to goals conceded, because boy, oh boy, do I have a stat later. That's a good stat, huh? But yes, when it comes to Roma's depth, I think we need to highlight the fact that Dovbyk has come on. This game he came on and nothing worked for him. Everything he touched, he lost. Like in fact, I need to look at his. Him and Santi need to meet for a coffee.
They need to meet up and pull some birds,
Santi's got a beautiful bird.
Yes, a canary. Is that even a bird?
African grey, bro.
Lineups. Let's go on Dovbyk and let's see how many misplaced passes he has, because I swear it didn't look good at all. 5 out of 7 accurate passes. It looked way worse.
It was more his miscontrolled touches, man. I would say, not his passes.
It's true. It's the touches, eh?
They don't stick.
In
to
fact,
those
possession
passes.
lost 5. Yeah, so heavy touches all round. Baldanzi needs to grow a bit, because it's a shame. We have one of the best dribblers in the league, one of the most technical players in the league, but his frame really limits him. He's so weak and easily pushed off the ball.
Now, we've seen players be able to work with that limitation, but for some reason, every time I see him, he's either a bit more central where strength really matters. I rarely see him like in loads of space where it's good to be nimble, it's good to be light, etc. And it used to frustrate us with Brahim Diaz, for example. But then in certain cases, he'd dribble an entire team, you know.
But Brahim
when he had space.
Brahim had the skill to absolutely destroy opponents.
God, I miss him.
Also, it's important to note. It's important to mention as well the Papu Gomez quote, because Papu Gomez has a similar build, right? Papu Gomez is very small and not the strongest, of course. And he said that Gasperini literally gave him a piece of advice to just follow the referee's every move.
A piece of advice he gave him.
Yeah, he stuck as close to the referee as possible in most games. That really taught him how to take advantage of space. Because automatically the referee has more space around him.
It's a smart way to look at it.
It really is. Absolutely.
Then you also see the players that leave Atalanta no longer playing well and then no longer having 90 minutes in them, and you're like, okay.
You see, like Coop Miners. I would have never thought that Coop Miners was purely a system player from what you saw. It's unbelievable, to be honest.
But and his work rate has really plateaued.
But anyway, that's it. It was a very entertaining Lazio. Yes, here we go.
What's the
swap to YouTube for Cesco, our favorite patron's reaction.
He's so panic.
Nick, give us a scream. I keep forgetting. Jesus, that's Cesco. At him over for the game, and I loved his energy,
the
man.
most popular person in our Patreon chat.
Yes, even Luca is a close second. And shout out to Daniele who joined all the Italian names. I was gonna make a point. Sarri's Lazio are off to a terrible start. That is just one win for them. Is that 3 losses for them? Surely not, man. Como, Roma.
It's 3 losses. Como, Roma, Sassuolo.
Sassuolo. Ay, caramba. I knew it's obviously bad. Like, whoever says the fact that they couldn't make transfers and they brought in Sarri who knows the team and stuff could be a blessing in disguise. He's full of crap, man.
Of course.
Because
how can you say that being banned from the transfer market is an advantage?
Absolutely not. And they definitely have pieces that are replaceable, and they definitely need strengthening in certain areas. And can I just say, going for Pedro on the right, I see the similar thought process to Pellegrini playing. He has a knack for scoring in a game like this, formerly of Roma, scored important last-minute derby goals as well. But, like, Isaacson, to me, was the most threatening player that they've had so far.
But Isaacson has just come back from an injury, so he needs to take his time to get back into his groove. I think they went for Pedro here simply because you've got a player of the experience of Pedro, and you need a leader in a time where the team morale is low. This is where you throw him in, right? But once again, I'm not a fan of playing these players from the start.
Bring him on
against tired legs.
That's how he got all his goals last season.
Over 10 goals last season.
Or try bloody Tiani Noslin. Now again, I empathize because he doesn't have much choice, and he's been going for Cancelleri, who was an unused substitute, because he hasn't been great. A real limited amount of resources, and I have a hot take, man. I think fucking Sarri walks out real soon. I think he will walk out because he's been lied to. All it will take is a small disagreement with Lotito, and I think he's out of there, bro.
It could be. It could very well be. However, Lazio, the positive thing is that they haven't looked awful. They haven't, like, you know what I mean? Like, the last 2 losses were slender 1-0 losses. Like, granted, against Sassuolo, they really didn't create much. This game, I think they were a little bit unlucky because they were on par with Roma, and I think their chances, to be honest, were better than Roma's. It's the Como game that was the most concerning, to be honest, at the start.
The Sassuolo. Christ on a bike.
Yeah. I think
Christ on a
I think
Mori
Sassuolo, Madonna. I think I can see Sarri working with this team, though. I don't know if that's naive of me. Especially if everyone stays healthy. This game, I was disappointed to see Della Bashiru going off, because since the game was quite end-to-end and open at times, Della Bashiru could have actually had some fun.
Yeah, he picked up a knock, didn't he?
Yeah, and he was replaced by Belayan.
Rovella isn't 100. Well. He's not 100%.
This team can get better.
But Ravella was also a little bit injured, no?
Yes.
He wasn't
Exactly.
exactly perfect. In fact, he got subbed
Even
out.
Castellanos was slightly injured. They're not at their best right now, Lazio. They look worse than they really are.
Yeah.
I think they can get better, much better.
Maybe they should bring in some kids, because this team isn't looking like, at least for the time being, with the slight injuries, like it's definitely a terrible start for Lazio. That's
Yes.
3 losses, including a loss in the Derby della Capitale and a loss to a newly promoted team, and a loss to Como in the opening match day, and 1 sensational win. I believe, in fact, they have 4 games, 4 goals scored, and 4 goals conceded, and all their 4 goals scored came in that 1 game. Am I right to say that?
Yes.
Did they? Yes, because they. So Jake found a soundboard online, and everything is like 3 minutes long. It's still going. Jeez, Louise.
Never
Let's
pressing that one
jump to Milan. That is Udinese 0, Milan 3. Being the next game we're gonna discuss. Udinese, coming into this game, were undefeated in Serie A, to everyone saying they weren't good. And it was an obvious win for Milan. The same team that beat Inter, the same team that beat Pisa. They came to Milan and got absolutely dominated, or they hosted Milan rather, they got absolutely dominated. Milan are now 3 wins out of 4, with the only loss coming in the opening match against Cremonese, and since have not conceded a goal. There was a weird decision made by Runjaic. He opted for a 4-4-2 formation, a change from the typical 3-5-2 that we tend to see that Udinese cause so much trouble against top teams with. We're used to them having the midfield packed with a lot of physical players, and then having those runners out wide whipping the ball into the area and whipping. But they did go for a 4-4-2 in this game. With Sava and goal, backline of Zamora, Sole, Christensen and Ezibwe. I am aware that there's a centre-back injury, which of Bertola, I believe, is injured.
I'll have a look.
So could be the case. That could be the case. Atta on the left, Ekkelenkamp on the right, with Zarraga and Karlstrom in the middle, with Iker Bravo and Kenan Davis up front together. For Milan, it was a 3-5-2 formation, classic Allegri. This time, of course, it was Terracciano in goal, and that was the only change made, really, because of Mike Maigna's inevitable yearly injury, or night out, as the alleged would say. Terracciano on goal, backline of Tomori, Gabbia and Pavlovic, Salemakers on the right, Estupinian on the left, and a midfield trio of Fofana, Modric and Rabiot, with Santi and Captain America, Christian Pulisic, up front together.
Bertola was on the bench and didn't feature much.
Okay, so
at all. He didn't
Bertola would
feature
have
at all,
replaced
so-
someone last game. Someone went off injured in the last game. If you look at Udinese's game against Pisa, I believe, or against Inter, Pisa, I think.
Let's pull
Yes,
up.
Pisa.
Bertola would have replaced. No, he started. He got injured exactly this game and
okay.
was replaced and probably wasn't healthy enough to play this
Fair
one.
enough.
Do you know the most impressive thing about this victory, before we get into the game, like historically, is the fact that Udinese in Udine are actually a bogey team for Milan historically.
Absolutely.
We're talking 52 matches before this one, 15 Udinese victories, 19 draws, and only 18 Milan victories.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but Milan seem to be over this hump because the previous 2 matches before this one saw 7 goals.
Okay.
So it's 7, 8, 9, 10 goals now exactly in 3 games for Milan against Udinese away.
Amazing.
In a row.
Amazing.
So it seems to be over the boginess.
There
of
was
Udinese.
that bloody huge win that season where Milan were conceding every shot they conceded, where I believe
with Tatarusano was in goal.
Tatarusano in goal.
Yeah.
Beto turned into prime Samuel Eto'o. Of course, one thing to mention is Leao was still out injured for this game. At least we'll see what happens against Napoli. But Milan opened the scoring in the 29th minute through Christian Pulisic. It was an Estupinian cross, which Christensen fired into his own keeper via interception, and Pulisic pounced on the rebound. Fofana right after the restart in the second half, as Pulisic took the ball off Karlstrom, who clarted him, kicked him in his Achilles, almost killed him. But Fofana capitalized. He slotted really neatly into the bottom near post. And then in the 53rd minute, Pulisic got his second and Milan's third. It was Rabiot who carried the ball forward really nicely, and the build-up play that started from Tomori to Fofana, and that little link-up. So really nice passages of play that we saw by Milan over here. It did end with a Rabiot disguised pass to Pulisic. Pulisic from a really tight angle. No one was expecting him to shoot, but he shot through the legs of Solé and beat Sava at his near post. After that, Milan had some more chances via Loftus-Cheek, Salamakers and Estupinian. Terracciano barely had a save to make in that goal, and it was a clean victory by Milan. And I just instantly want to get into this statistic.
Yes, I was going to ask you, bro. Bless me with the stat.
Because it's very apparent. It describes the game perfectly, this statistic. So Allegri's stamp is clear, right? That's 3 clean sheets in a row with just 1 goal conceded in nearly 400 minutes. Milan have faced only 16 shots and 0.23 xG per game. That is the best defensive numbers in Europe. And the team that is second have half that xG. I don't know if I worded that
double,
perfectly.
I think, right?
Yes, have double that
XG,
xG.
yeah.
So let me just reword that in
Yes.
case you make a snippet out of this.
Good idea.
But Allegri's stamp is obviously clear. That's 3 clean sheets in a row. Just 1 goal conceded in nearly 400 minutes for Milan. Milan have only faced 16 shots and 0.23 xG per game. That is the best defensive numbers in Europe. And the team that are second have double that xG in goal scoring chances conceded. After leaking 49 and 43 goals in the last 2 league seasons, this shift is obviously very, very apparent, and it is clear that Allegri, his motto is the team with the best defense wins the league. And it was only one case that didn't take place. It was Sarri's Juve, who didn't have the best defense, and they won the league. Allegri's formula is also very simple. He wants to score 60 to 80 goals and concede under 40, and that way you are guaranteed top 4. And right now, Milan look firmly on track. Of course, 4 games in, but really controlling the games and really not allowing their fans to fear any goals being conceded, right?
Absolutely, bro. Massimiliano Moneyball Allegri. Yeah?
Fuck yeah.
With those strats. Yes, my favorite thing about Milan right now is that they have a coach who can organize them defensively. And for the first time since many of these players who play for Milan have arrived, they have a good coach, right?
Yeah.
A coach who knows, who prioritizes the basics when it comes to defense, who can structure a defense very well. So, for example, Conceição was meant to be that guy, not really. Instead, he made everyone anxious and scared because he was apparently really shitting on the players, like during his time. There was a
destroyed
bad
Calabria.
Fonseca wasn't exactly great at organizing and structuring defenses, and Pioli was okay at times, but he's no master of defense. You know what I mean? Like Allegri is literally a master. These boys can't have a better manager to guide them. The likes of Pavlovic, Tomori, Gabbia, they're very talented defenders, and finally they have a coach who can really get the best out of them. Not to mention that the midfield is perfectly balanced and he seems to have found the perfect way to relieve Modric of his defensive duties, with Fofana and Ruben Loftus-Cheek really, and Rabiot, of course, really protecting him.
Absolutely,
And
that really goes to
Estupinian,
show what he meant when he said that perhaps Richie is not ready to be that physical, to cover that much ground. That is clearly what he means, because Fofana, who we were discussing earlier, as much as we've said now the next upgrade is Richie for Fofana has been, he misplaces the odd pass, he barely gets touches. I think there was a stat that he only had 7 touches in the first half, something like that. But does a lot of dirty work.
He does a lot of dirty work, and it looks bad, and he looks bad because he loves to have a shot, and that's very frustrating. He loves to shoot in the final third. He likes to shoot from distance, and let's be real, we've never seen them going, so it's very frustrating.
Yeah.
You know
what really impressed me defensively by Milan this week? Once again, Tomori. Just to say, he was fantastic. Didn't put a foot wrong. And what I liked about Tomori is in the build-up to that third goal of Pulisic, There's so much pressure on him. He was pinned back, and that ball he released to Fofana, just absolutely the amount of space he created with that pass. The way that he was so calm, when typically he's one of the most erratic players on the pitch.
Yeah.
But clearly, Allegri, Milan don't have a ball playing centre back, don't have a ball playing centre back. It's true, but when you have a top manager, players will improve where they are weak. And that is exactly what we're seeing from Milan. We're seeing players refine themselves.
And I'm the most excited for Pavlovic, because imagine Pavlovic with the, I don't want to be mean, but understanding the basics of defending properly. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like,
that's what makes someone
his
world
positioning,
class, right?
and
Nailing the basics.
To be fair, exactly. Imagine Pavlovic with better awareness and positioning, and that's what he's improving. He looked good this game, and yeah.
And
That's pretty much it.
Milan's left side is nice with Estupinian and Pavlovic going forward. I do want to highlight Estupinian because he in this game he really improved. Typically, what we've seen from him so far is a few mistakes grows into games.
Yeah.
He was in this game immediately, and in fact, in the opening few minutes, he played a pass to Santi, or a hockey pass to Santi, and Santi and Jimenez missed the chance. Really, really nice, clever, disguised first-time pass into space, and again, Milan just really creating space perfectly through this terrorist ball by Allegri. You know, that's what I thought was the case. But he has the players to work with.
And that's a very important point as well, because people think about Allegri's Juve the last time he was there, where they didn't have any great offensive players. Yildiz was just up and coming. Chiesa had the name and the reputation, the status, but in reality he had just come back from an ACL injury and had lost a lot of what made him very dangerous, his speed and his confidence and duels. And Vlahovic, let's be real, and Milik, in fact. Those were his options.
Di Maria and out of hospital.
Exactly.
They named the award after him, I think.
So, yes, I mean, obviously he was playing very defensive football over there because he didn't have any other possibility. But if you look back at Allegri through the years, he's always done well when he's had offensive players, and they have smashed teams before in a similar manner. And let's remember that right now, this is Milan with a striker who's low on confidence, with Nkunku still getting ready to play, and with Leao out injured.
Milan. Pulisic had a fantastic game, of course. How can we not highlight this guy? That is, firstly, the amount of fouls that he won for Milan in this game was ridiculous. He took so many hits in this game, but he just kept getting up, which is really good to see, considering that he had minor injury problems in the past. When I say minor injuries, I mean it's no ACL injuries, but a knock here and there, a muscle injury here and there. But with all the hits that he got and the amount of ground that he covered, got back up, just fantastic performance.
They were beating him up, huh?
They were beating him up. It's Udinese, right? But he bagged a brace, created the second, and generally unplayable, and just an absolute headache for Allegri when it comes to choosing the front two. To me, he has to be there. He has to be starting. He is Mr. Output for Milan.
Exactly.
How could you not start someone that gives you numbers, baby?
Exactly. If you put Pulisic in the situations Jimenez has found himself in this season, not to be unfair to him, it's just an example, he'd have 7 goals.
Yeah, no.
I've never seen Pulisic miss a good chance.
True.
I don't think so. I can't recall off the top of my head saying, "Oh, Pulisic should have scored that."
Yeah.
You know, his finishing is always so clean.
And he scores from tight angles. He scores from a corner.
He always seems to roll them in. It's so good, man.
And this is the thing. He's been through the ringer at Milan because he had a season under Pioli when the protests started, right? And everyone wanted Pioli out. The protests started, and he had a good debut season. He scored in his debut against Bologna. Come on, baby, USA. Second season, anyone in the right mind would have went running from Milan. Anyone who doesn't obviously value the badge. #grinders. And now, so he said, look, I'm going to take my time with the contract. I want to see what the project is, etc. But he was professional about it. It's not like he boycotted the decision or whatever. It's like, look, I need time. He's always professional. Whether he's on the bench, whether he's starting. He's just completely just a chill guy. just a chill guy, literally coming in and performance after performance. Mr. Consistent he is for Milan, Pulisic.
I love Pulisic.
Absolutely.
Also nice to see, by the way, Man City fans realizing that Reinders in a double pivot
Doesn't work.
Doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
and they're realizing that Rodri is having to do a lot of the defensive work alone with the likes of Silva and Reinders playing there.
Yes, it's the
Which
problem.
is the same problem.
One of the problems Milan had last year.
Yeah,
it was also one
Fofana
of the,
doing everything.
I also obviously want to highlight the king Luka Modric and the prince Adrian Rabiot because they have absolutely revolutionized that midfield. Salamaker's work ethic is second to none. He misplaced a few passes, but otherwise, wow, his work ethic is crazy.
Do you know that last week Modric became the oldest midfielder to score a goal in the history of Serie A? 40 years and 5 days, surpassing the record of Nils Lidenholm, who was 38 years old and 169 days. In total, when it comes to players, not just midfielders, he ranks 6th. First, there's Billy Costa Curta, who was 41 years old and 25 days. And in second, there's Ibrahimovic, who was 41 years old and 5 months and 15 days.
Costa Curta, if you're hearing this, you refused to sign our paper. In 2007, when Milan came to Malta, Kaladze signed our paper, Kaká signed our paper, Dida, everyone except for you, Billy Costa Curta. And Seedorf was on the phone.
Yeah, Seedorf was on the phone, speaking a language I've never heard before.
Right, but
from the perspective of a child, that language sounded really weird. I wonder what it...
You remember when...
I think it was Dutch. He was speaking Dutch.
I doubt it. I doubt it. I'm really not sure, though. I was literally like child, 8, wearing a Vieri fake kit.
For context, Milan, after was it it was a punishment, right? That they were sent to the training camp in Malta or something during their summer.
It was after... It was between 2006 2007. So Italy had just won the World Cup. In fact, Maldini was the only Italian player there because he had retired from the Nazionale. The next summer, the next season, Milan won the Champions League, which is fire. Udinese, just a few notes on Udinese. I think they will bounce back from this. Runjaic did say that they faced the best team in the league so far. Obviously, he did his team he gave them a bit of an excuse over there. I did find the setup odd. I feel like the entire strength within Udinese is what I said earlier, right? The packed midfield with all of that physicality, and then the wide men putting in absolute 20Kers in these games. And typically, in games like this, at least what they did against Inter, for example, is they take a bit more of a man-to-man approach. And in fact, they don't allow a lot of space for the opposition to create chances. This was a completely different setup from them. It seemed a little bit more zonal, and in fact, like I said, Milan were creating so much space, and it was the name of the game for Milan in their passages of play. They made a few changes, Udinese, to try fix things up. They even brought in Zaniolo, but I do feel like the change cost them quite dearly, and I'm not sure they'll be trying that again anytime soon.
Yeah, they also brought on Lennon Miller, the exciting 18-year-old I've been raving about. He had 2 duels and he won them both. He misplaced one pass and he shot wide, but all that in 9 minutes. So I think we'll start to see more of him. If he made his debut against Milan, then surely he's in the plans, right?
Absolutely.
18 years old, that one for the future, Lennon Miller.
100%. I also want to highlight, obviously, that there were individual errors made by Udinese. If we're going to talk about the mistake which Nuno Tavares made, very similar error by Karlstrom, but Pulisic robbed the ball off him really well over there.
And many of these mistakes were forced, right? I mean, same as always. Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything you'd like to add, brother, but that's it for me when it comes to Milan.
No, as a Milan fan myself, I'm very happy with the current state of the team. I'm a big fan of Allegri. I like how he works. I like how he gets teams to operate. So I think right now Milan are in a decent place.
Yeah. Just one question for you. Milan-Napoli this weekend, Sunday 8:45. Firstly,
a cracker. Allegri Conte.
I'm coming over.
Of course you are.
Allegri Conte, crazy.
Nick, you coming? What day is it? Sunday evening, Milan-Napoli. Sunday evening.
Scream your answer.
Yes, I think I'm free.
Yo, that'd be
Yes,
huge,
we
bro.
do it, we do
That'd,
it.
that'd
Amazing,
be huge.
amazing.
We will bring beers.
Yes.
Yes,
Amazing.
yes.
What a guy.
Amazing. And we will bring more beers. Huzzah!
Anything but a microphone.
Excellent. Any predictions? Let's shoot predictions real quick. I say... Fuck, why'd I do? I put myself on the spot. I've never done that before. I say... Tipego... 1-1.
1-1.
Both teams to score.
Um,
But under 2.5. Huh?
Milan home. Huh?
I have a draw as well.
You draw as well, you have? Okay.
Ooh.
Is Leao back? Is Leao back? That's what I want to know.
Good question. If he is, he won't start.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
So come on and change
Yo,
it.
come on and...
Okay, I think
Make
my
me
mind is saying draw, but my heart is saying a Milan victory. Yeah?
There is a chance. I think Milan are
Milan
the
home.
toughest. Milan are the toughest team Napoli can play
Yeah, at
right
the
now,
moment.
and this is a clash of the titans because both teams are on hot form.
Yeah, yeah. I think just Milan haven't conceded many chances, right? And the question is, if Napoli score early, how will Milan react? You know, because Milan aren't used to conceding, and against Cremonese, it wasn't exactly pretty. So we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Very excited for that.
My
Send us
official
your
prediction,
predictions.
just to be different, is Milan victory.
1-0.
1-0.
Okay. Bravo.
No, 2-1. 2-1.
Ooh!
2-1. I'll go 2-1. Crazy game.
What's your next game, brother?
My turn.
My turn. My turn.
My next game. Oh my god, I lost my file. 1 sec.
1 sec, that guys, because Jake lost his file, even though he's
Christ
clearly on
almighty.
an iPad. Doesn't mean lost his file. Yes, Napoli Pisa.
No, I've lost the actual document itself. Episode 190. Where is it? I've got every single episode we've ever done here, and they're
Yeah,
not in
man.
order.
People are driving, listening to this, and they're
Yes.
just hearing this right
Sorry,
now.
guys. Wait, I can just open a random one at the top.
Jeez, Louise.
Oh my god, the first thing I saw was
Oh.
Augello and his Paris. Yeah. Okay, so my next game, sorry about that, guys, is Napoli against Pisa. Napoli kept their perfect Serie A record alive, but only just by beating Pisa 3-2 at the Maradona. Now, as for the lineups, it was Mere in goal in a 4-1-4-1 formation. Or is it, you know, that type of... it's that season for Napoli. Di Lorenzo, Beukema, Buongiorno and Spinazzola were at the back, with Gilmore playing in front of them, Politano on the right, McTominay on the left, Elmas and De Bruyne playing behind Højlund. For Pisa, it was Schemper in goal, Luzuardi, Caracciolo and Cannestrelli at the back, with Bonfati on the left, Leris on the right, with Akinsan, Miro, Abisher and Marin in the middle, while Moreo partnered Inzola up front.
Can we call Akin San Miro fucking San Siro from now on?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, he's a
It's easier to
techie
remember.
little player, huh? Fucking San
Fucking
Siro.
San Siro, eh?
Yeah. 10 minutes into the game, De Bruyne stepped on Leris in the box to give away a penalty, but Leris, it turns out, had fallen and handled the ball on the way up. So there was a VAR check and no penalty.
Oh, is that why? I thought the
Yes.
contact wasn't significant.
No. He had touched the ball with his hand when he was getting up from off the floor.
Okay.
Prior.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Leris is also a dangerous little player out wide.
Mm.
Gilmore opened his Napoli account with a lovely dummy and deflected finish before Pisa equalized through an Inzola penalty after Beukema handled the ball in the box. Now, just to paint the picture, Gilmore's goal came late in the first half, 39th minute, while Inzola's goal came in the 60th minute in the second half. And then it was Spinazzola who scored a cracker, a long-ranged... again, not a missile. A long-range... What are we going to call it, bro? What's not a missile?
There's a placed shot, was it
Placed
not?
shot,
Placed
but I want to be metaphoric.
Okay.
A long-ranged...
Nick.
A long-ranged centipede. I don't know, snipe.
Ooh,
Kind of, let's call it that. Yeah.
snipe.
Kind of a snipe, yeah. Fair enough.
Wow.
And then Lorenzo Lucca would go on to score in the 82nd minute after being played through. I think the defender thought he was going to cut inside and pass, but instead he took it to the byline and smashed it top bins.
Lawrence Luke, baby.
Yes, while later on in the 90th minute, Di Lorenzo had his second lapse in concentration this week, and he decided to give Pisa the ball in the box, and they squared it to Laurent, who scored. Di Lorenzo, his second mistake, by the way, because previously, earlier this week, they were playing against Manchester City, and Haaland was clean through on goal, and in the 20th minute, and he wiped him out and got a red card. Referee thought he got the ball at first, but it was clearly a foul. Yeah. He has a mistake in him, Di Lorenzo.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. You don't remember that Euros for Italy were like, why the hell does he keep playing him? He also has some very, he had a very clean season last season.
Yeah. Not to mention as well, very important, that Meret had to pull off a massive save at the end of the game to actually confirm this victory, because it would have been 3-3 had he not pulled off that miracle at the end.
And it's that thing that we said earlier, right? That Napoli, even against Fiorentina, it just feels like either there's a lapse of concentration at the end.
Clearly, I mean, that's the only thing. That's the only way you can explain what Di Lorenzo
and
did.
It's interesting because it was the same pattern we saw with Inter. Inter won the league, didn't concede late, and then the next season all they did was concede late. And could that be the same pattern we're seeing with champions Napoli? I don't know. Have your say in the comments.
Perhaps let us know. Smash the like button.
Send us love.
I really enjoyed. I just enjoy watching Napoli play under Conte, especially this season.
Slick, eh?
It's slick, and there are so many interesting details. Like, for example, at one point Napoli had a corner in the first half. They lofted the ball to De Bruyne on the edge of the area, who struck it first time. It was a clean hit, but it didn't really trouble the goalkeeper. But the attempt was nice. Then you see the replay, and you see the likes of Buongiorno on the box. They're just blocking runners. Their job, they knew exactly what was going to happen. Their job is to stop people from pressing him. And then, cool. Putting their body in the way. Really cool.
How cool.
Yeah. Also, 26 minutes into the game, Elmas scored a header, by the way. I forgot to mention that. He scored a header, but after Semper had saved Højlund 1-on-1. But it was VAR'd off because Højlund had been in an offside position. And it took really late. It took embarrassingly long for him to realize. He
celebrated
jumped
for too long.
And turned around facing away from the referee. He celebrated for a bit too long. Like, everyone's like,
Elmas. It's good to have him back. And he's part of the reason
good,
in this game they were so slick. Because you've got players like Gilmore and Elmas who are very fluid with the ball at their feet. A fair bit of rotation, by the way. It shows that... City was prioritized because they felt as though Pisa would be an easier task. I doubt that's going to be the case with Milan. I doubt they're going to go second team against Milan. And then they have Sporting. I believe Napoli, I think they have Sporting in the Champions League just a few days after the Milan game. Possibly. Yes, on the 1st they play against Sporting.
Okay, so interesting to see how Conte handles that, but I'm pretty sure he'll prioritize the league.
Absolutely.
For me, if I were a Napoli fan, I would have a poster of Politano in my room.
I was gonna say, Mr. Napoli, and work ethic, grinta, minutes. He's just playing 90 minutes after 90 minutes after 90 minutes.
In the same action, he's slide tackling and winning the ball back, and then being involved in the final third as well. He's all over the place, Politano. What an athlete, what passion, and what technique, man. He's such a good dribbler as well. And his left foot is top.
He must be Conte's favorite player, man. Absolutely.
So.
And dude, this guy some justice. This guy gets into the Napoli Hall of Fame. He has as many league titles as Maradona has for Napoli. His episode title. Politano is the new Maradona. I said it. And everyone heard me.
The modern day Maradona.
Modern day Maradona.
You know, the Champions League commentators absolutely love him. Good player, Politano.
I
love him. He is a good player, man, Politano. Absolutely. And Spinazzola has found his form again. He's really stretching defenses, and he is very good at faking, pushing the ball into space and chasing it and beating his defender in that way, just by not by necessarily attempting a skill move or a dribble, but he just pushes the ball. He feints one way, pushes the ball another, and beats them with speed. And he's doing it very effectively.
Yes, and he seems to be back, Spinazzola. Yeah. Last season when he was being deployed, even the season before when he was at Roma, it was like you could tell that this guy just had a terrible, I don't know if it was an ACL injury he picked up in the Euros or if it was a terrible Achilles tendon injury. But after 3 years after that, he's really found his form and he's found his place again because he's keeping some left backs out of the team, because they have what the fuck is his name? Oliveira.
Oh, yes.
And they just signed, I believe it's Miguel Gutierrez, was the left back that they signed. So clearly he's doing an outstanding job, Spinazzola.
For sure. I'm a fan actually. He's looking much better than he looked last season. He's really coming together. Also, what was I gonna say?
Something about
Luka. Something about Luka. You got me.
Yes.
So yes, because at the end when Luka scored, Conte couldn't compose himself. He ran onto the pitch screaming with joy and jumped on him and gave him a hug. He was in the middle of the players hanging off of Luka. And my theory as to why he was so happy is, first of all, that's exactly what you want from your sub-striker. From your striker who's just been benched by a new arrival. Instead of being demoralized, you score a goal that just exudes confidence. You know, that goal that he scored was literally like any player low on confidence would have tried to place that or tried to like pass to the teammate. But he just took matters into his own hands, charged to
Very
the near
Victor
post and
Osimhen
shot.
goal.
Yes. And I am a firm believer that Luka as a profile is ideal for Conte. Conte likes that type of profile. We've seen him deploy Graziano Pelle. You know, we've seen him use this type of striker before, this large target man who can also play with the ball at his feet. So I think he's excited about that.
I will also mirror what I said last week, that I feel like hold-up play, Rasmus also really, really fits.
Yeah.
He has a good problem in his hands.
He does.
Luka also, our point was kind of proven that sure, he's good in the air, but you see, those are the kinds of goals that Luka scores, when you give him the ball in those areas and he manages to get a shot away. If you were to look at his highlight reel and his goals scored, you will see a lot of similar goals to that, where he takes the ball past a defender and slots it in. It's the kind of striker he is.
Yeah. And I didn't mention that this was a goal against his ex-club, and he didn't really celebrate, because Pisa, he played for them in Serie B. Yeah, a little bit of a final note on Napoli's Napoli's system here. So you can look at this team as 4 defenders linking to 6 attackers, with fullbacks in Di Lorenzo and Spinazzola providing width, with Spinazzola being given freedom to attack one-on-one and create chances. For example, the assist on Gilmore's opener. Their idea was to isolate Pisa's left side while overloading the right. And it worked really well until the end. And would have been a clean victory had they not made that stupid mistake at the end.
Yep. And as well, keep in mind the other goal was a penalty, I believe, right, by Inzola.
Yes.
So lapses in concentration, or mistakes rather, that Conte will not be happy with at all.
Absolutely. I'm gonna sneeze.
Bless you. Thank you. No worries. Let me check your nose. All good, King.
It's good.
Yep.
Thanks, man. Fuck. All right.
Pisa,
you are up.
but Pisa have
So
some
Pisa,
courage.
to give them their flowers. Pisa play with courage, and that's what Gilardino said coming into this game. He said, "We are definitely not scared. The last thing we are scared, like when you ask a kid if he's scared of the dark. No, that's Gilardino." I am a big fan of Caracciolo. Caracciolo at the back loves to get involved up front, but also loves a last-ditch tackle. He's the captain and the leader of the team. Akin Sanmiro has some really sick feet. He is very technical as a player. Made a few mistakes. This game is also far from perfect, but shows some good flashes. Larry, very dangerous on the right as well, was very active at one point. I think it was Abisher, who's a very nice player as well. We know him very well from his time at Bologna.
Yeah.
And I believe Atalanta maybe? No, Bologna. Yeah.
Bologna for sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Atalanta, I'm not sure, but scrap that. I think it was Abisher who played the ball over the top to Leris, who was full stretch at the far post. He slid and got a shot off onto Meret. Good save by Meret. But Inzola was wide open and waiting for the pullback. And obviously in a situation like that where you're just trying your best to reach the ball, you're not going to have the awareness to know that your teammate is open next to you. And you're not even going to have probably the ability to square it to him accurately in a situation like that. But Inzola really let him know, bro. He did one of those things where he's like...
Oh my God. For those of you just listening, Jake stood up and pointed to the ground. It's like, come on, man, look at me, I'm open.
Yeah, look in front of me. This is where you had to play it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yes, nice team, nice little team. Pisa.
They need to start getting the results, because they're not playing badly.
They're gonna be one of those teams every year. We're like, they play well, but
they're missing the finishing touch. And
Venezia,
really hard games.
To be honest, it's the Venezia syndrome.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's pretty much it, bro.
Next up, Inter 2, Sassuolo 1. This was after Inter's victory over Ajax midweek. So we did see some slight tweaks to the starting 11. They started in a 3-5-2 formation with Martinez in goal, seeing him start in Serie A as well. Back three of Akanji, Acerbi and Augusto. Di Marco out on the left, Dumfries on the right, and the midfield three of Barella, Çalhanoğlu and Sucic, with Thuram and Pio Esposito starting up front. Together, that's the first start for Francesco Pio. For Grosso's men, it was a 4-3-3 formation. Muric in goal, an impressive Muric, that is. Backline of Koulibaly, Jay, it says, Muharemovic and Doig. A midfield three of Franks, Matic and Kone, with the formidable front three of Berardi, Pinamonti and Lauriante. So Inter scored quite early in the 19th minute. It was a slick move. Esposito won it deep. Barella switched the play to Sucic. Sucic did a clever no-look layoff, and Di Marco swept it home. Again, that was an important goal for Inter because it was a goal from open play. And also, it's always good to find Di Marco in those situations in or around the box on the left-hand side, because he barely misses on his left foot over there. Inter's second goal came as late as the 81st minute, where it was Carlos Augusto who was really charging forward from the left centre-back role, and he did great to carry the ball forward over here. He even had and the ball deflected in off Muharemovic, and it did go down as an own goal. He got the Carlos Augusto got some turf in his mouth because he was seen picking it out after that. Poor guy.
Yes.
Just moments later, and then substitute Walid Khedira pulled one back for Sassuolo, played a gorgeous 1-2 with Berardi, and then beat Martinez with an excellent finish. In the 86th minute, Frattesi had a goal which was flagged offside against his former team, of course, and then after that it was Inter withstanding the pressure applied for the equaliser by Sassuolo. Can you just double check for me, was it the 81st minute when Carlos Augusto scored that? Because I'm not sure.
Let's have a look.
Sassuolo's goal came just... Yes, it is correct, actually.
It is?
Because it was an instant reply from Sassuolo,
Yeah.
I'm remembering.
Yeah, it was the 84th exactly. Yes, Khedira.
Okay, I'm slightly off.
So Muharemovic 81 on goal, Khedira 84th on goal.
Exactly.
What a difference Berardi makes, eh?
Yes, and Berardi, this was the first game that I watched him, and I'm like, okay, he's back. Typically, he has a goal in him against Inter. This time,
4 against Inter in San Siro.
Madonna.
Yep,
Madonna.
he scored.
He loves a goal against Milan even more, though. But the thing I want to talk about the most here is obviously Pio Esposito had his debut. Actually, before I get into that, I just want to say overall in this game, you could tell Inter still are not 100%. They still seem a bit low on confidence. It did take that own goal and an early goal for them to win the game, and then they conceded straight after. You could see there's some chinks in the armor. There's also some things that are working really well for them, Inter. The fact that they scored 2 from open play is solid. I think Sucic, again, every time I watch him, I'm impressed by him. I know you mentioned that he didn't have a great performance
It was a one-off
against Udinese, but neither did the entire team, you know. And I thought, even though Pio Esposito didn't score, and I don't want to be another one of his glazers, you could tell he's just an instinctive striker. At a point, the ball's played behind him, and he did one of the quickest overhead kicks I've seen.
Yeah.
He's cat-like in the box, which for his size is very, very impressive. And again, his hold-up play is really strong. So there are some nice little pieces in the team.
It seems like from the last time I saw Pio, sorry to interrupt you, to cut you off, that Pio Esposito, when I saw him in Serie B last, he was physically much smaller.
He was.
He's really sized up.
He's hit the gym,
Yeah,
baby.
yeah. And he's still nimble.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm impressed by.
That's
It's
the
like
crazy
cat-like.
thing. Yeah, cat-like, literally. And I think that him partnering Thuram is... I think that with any striker that Inter have, they can partner him with Pio Esposito and get Pio Esposito to do a different role.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's very useful because he can play kind of like more like his brother at Cagliari. Like that, a bit more of a kind of like a support striker. A bit of a creative outlet. Or he can be the classic number 9 target. I think he has that in him as well.
And what we saw in this game was, in fact, it's surprising that this, of all games, is the game where they didn't score from a set piece. Because they've got their 2 biggest strikers. I'm not sure if that's a fact, because Bonni is quite big as well. But Francesco Pio is huge. And so is Thuram. They're both quite formidable presences in the area. So of all games, this was the game they didn't score from a set piece. With Çalhanoğlu and DeMarco on the pitch as well. Speaking of Çalhanoğlu, clear to see he's taking on a different role under Kivo and a bit closer to goal. No longer that deep-lying ball-playing midfielder. It seems to me like Sucic is taking that on a bit more, albeit moving forward as well. A bit of a Ben Nasser in that way. But Çalhanoğlu's playing closer to goal.
He is. And the fact that he is the most prolific Turkish player in the history of the top flight might have something to do with it, with his 52 Serie A goals.
52 Serie A goals.
52 Serie A goals, yeah.
20 penalties. For those of you that listen often, it's some Çalhanoğlu slander just for fun.
Just for the culture.
Exactly. Sucic, I've addressed, is actually a stat on Sucic, however, that at 21 he has 2 assists already this season, and only Yildiz and Paz have more among under 23s.
Great company.
Yes, absolutely. And you forget that Sucic is that young, huh?
Yeah.
He's a few phenomenal performances away from hitting the mainstream and everyone jizzes over him.
Also, congratulations, DiMarco.
He's finally... Can I just say, honestly, I like it. Honestly, I like it. I like it. It suits him.
Yes.
It suits him. For those of you that didn't realize, and I wouldn't blame you for realizing, because he used to bleach his hair completely blonde and really light blonde. Because he was hiding something. But now he's decided to come out and shave his head completely. And I won't speak for it so myself from a guy that hasn't quite experienced balding, at least as significant as DiMarco. Jake, take it away, bro. What does this mean to you to have another brother?
Welcome, DiMarco. Happy to have you in the community. Just make sure you keep it clean. Make sure you do it often. You don't need to diet anymore. Even if you want to, you can go for it. But we're happy to have you. And anyone else who's in a situation like this, feel free to join. We are the Bald Club Malta. I don't know that last part.
Those balls are rare, nowadays.
Balls are rare,
everyone getting
everyone's going to Turkey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wasteful finishing by Inter, of course. We saw that they had 20 shots, but only 2 goals, and one of them was an own goal. We saw Thuram miss a few chances. We saw Esposito wasn't really his fault because he invented something really over there. Even Lautaro couldn't convert. You could tell that there's that confidence missing, that cutting edge missing. And I'm saying this, and while I'm saying it, I'm realizing that this is the same team that scored 4 goals in their last game and 3 in the game before. So perhaps the lack of confidence, I believe, comes from the lack of victories. Perhaps that would impact their confidence.
Absolutely. I mean, they were off to a bit of a shit start. I mean, it's not a devastatingly terrible start. I mean, they lost to a strong Udinese side, and they lost very dramatically and very unfortunately against Juventus at the end, which would hurt because that's a rivalry, right? It's just the nature of the losses and the fact that they happened right after each other, and the fact that the rivals in Juve and Milan are up in top 3. While Napoli, the defending champions, have double the points they have already. Of course, Inter are panicking. The players would panic a bit. People aren't stupid. They feel the environment. They feel the tension. Inter are in 10th if you look at the table. Granted, coaches always say we're not looking at the table at this point of the season, but But yeah, definitely pressure at the moment, and this victory would have been a relief because this is where historically they have slipped up. Even the strongest Inter teams we've seen this recently have
For sure.
slipped up.
For sure. And it's also like the Juve game, what happens in shootouts? It's not always the skilled marksman that wins in a shootout because it's a bloody shootout. A shootout can tilt either way. The fact that Juve got that winner at the end, it could have so easily gone the other way if it was on the other side of the pitch and Inter would have had the ball at that stage and they had a shot, they could have gotten that win. So it is fine margins right at the end of the day. A few notes on here. I took a note saying that for such a tight game, I felt that Inter weren't aggressive enough off the ball. They only had 15 fouls committed, which you will find teams with less fouls committed. But in such a tight game where it's 1-0 for so long and Sassuolo were kind of threatening a little bit here and there, you'd expect them to get their hands dirty a little bit more. And stopping the counterattacks a little bit earlier. So perhaps that could be something we can expect moving forward. And I just want to highlight, of course, Sassuolo, because Sassuolo are off to a classic Sassuolo start where they beat a big team in Lazio, lost to Cremonese, lost another game and now marginally lost against Inter, but we are starting to see their personality come through. You know, it's like right now Sassuolo are like a kid aged 3. You're starting to see what they're laughing at, the kind of comments they're making, the facial expressions they pull. So happy 3rd birthday, Sassuolo.
Yeah, happy birthday, Sassuolo. Let's see the YouTube comment section.
Okay, you're on it now.
We're on it.
For context, Southeast Asians tend to really gas Jay, it says in the Sassuolo highlight comments on YouTube, so we're trying to find some right now.
Here we go. Jayadi, stay positive and keep working hard in Serie A.
Was that the only one this time?
Didn't Jay play? Back number 21, he's there. The views would have been more if he started. He did start, no, didn't he?
He did start. There's like, they
Forza
lost
J. More. Kivu still has time to develop the team. The lines are too far apart and pressing style of the opponent defenders is weak. Go ahead, Inter. That's not
about it. Says it
just happened to be in that
different
language.
alphabet.
Yes. Fans, Sassuolo forever.
Indonesian flag.
Yes. Amazing. Love these guys. Hellas Verona 1, Juve 1. This was the first slip up this season in Serie A for Juventus, who had just come off back-to-back emotional roller coasters against Inter and Dortmund, which saw them beating bitter rivals. Inter, of course, in the last minute dramatically through an Adzic goal, you all know. And of course, leveling Dortmund in the Champions League very dramatically a few days prior. But they did hit a wall at the Bentegodi and dropped points. This was a very tough match for Juve against Gift Orban. Because that's what this game was. Juve against Gift Orban, who, by the way, does whatever he wants. Gift Orban does whatever he wants. He's one of those players. But anyway, we'll get into the gift that keeps on giving Orban. Now, Di Gregorio was in goal for Juve in their 3-4-2-1 formation with Kalulu Gatti and Kelly at the back, Cambiaso and João Mario on the flanks, with Thuram and Locatelli playing in the middle, and Vlahovic flanked by Yildiz and Conceição. As for Hellas Verona, it was Montepò in goal with Nunez, Nelson and Freze at the back, with Belgadi and Bradaric on the flanks, Bernade, Akpro and Serdar in the middle, with Jovan and Orban up front. Christ. There we go. Now, this was also a very controversial refereeing display as well, this game, because as we alluded to in the intro, 2 calls have been totally criticized. One of them rightfully so. The other one a little bit more controversial. We'll get into it very soon. So let's start off with Conceição. Conceição opened the scoring after some Juve pressure at the start in the 19th minute by cutting inside, driving and issuing a trademark Conceição/Arjen Robben goal coming from the right, complete solo goal, amazing stuff. And then Hellas equalized from the spot after a handball on João Mario. This caused controversy, particularly because it hit his, Rocky, the former referee, said that it hit his upper arm. That's not what I saw and his shoulder and upper arm. That's not what I saw personally.
I think it's rolled down
rolled
his
down,
shoulder
right?
and the upper arm.
Yeah.
But from the angles that we have, I believe we're pulling up as well, it did look like it hit his hand at a point, if I'm not mistaken.
It's I don't know. It's not as clear. It's not as clear as a mistake as they seem to be saying it is.
The quote from Rocky is, "The penalty decision is not correct. It is not a penalty. The dynamic does not make João Mario's handball punishable. The player goes to head the ball, and the dropping ball hits his arm." Okay.
Sorry, how is that? It must be the translation.
I think it has to be, but if what he's saying is
maybe
how in danger, how significant was the goal scoring situation, I don't think it's entirely relevant. If the ball is hitting your hand, then I never agreed with this whole intent thing. Because for me, if you touch the ball and you intend to handle the ball, for me that's a red card. If you try to stop something by impeding it with your hand, if every call was made on intent, there would barely be any handball penalties, man.
I want to
don't
compare.
get that.
I want to compare this one to the one we saw in the Genoa game against Bologna, because the Genoa game, to be fair, the ball was being played. Had the man not been there, the ball would have been played to an opponent.
Yes.
So it did hinder a goal scoring opportunity. I don't know if this is irrelevant, to be honest, but that's I think his point over here, right? He went to head the ball and the ball bounced off his arm, kind of the same motion had it hit his head. I think that's his point, basically.
And there's also the argument of his hand over here, the João Mario, was in a natural position. It was not exactly extended, as in if you have a microscope on, sure it's extended by something millimeters, and the natural positioning of his arm. Because if you look at the Genoa one, the penalty that they gave away, the arm is clearly extended and it's moving towards the ball. That makes a complete difference. In this case, the ball is dropping down and it rolls down his arm. So it's definitely controversial. I mean, if Rocky's coming out and saying, look, it's not a penalty.
He definitely knows more than us.
It's not a penalty. It's a mistake by the VAR room. I wouldn't even blame the referee in that case. I blame VAR.
Exactly.
I'll blame VAR again soon.
And then Orban should have been sent off moments later for an elbow on Gatti. And you can't even say that he was going for the ball or anything. You literally see him taking a look at his man, a cheeky look, and then hitting him with his elbow in the face. But somehow that didn't go to VAR and play just resumed. Serdar would go on to score a header in the 68th minute, but VAR cancelled it as he had been in an offside position. But yes, that's it. Juve did not have enough metal in them. They looked tired emotionally and physically, probably. And they didn't have enough going through Yildiz and Conceição to basically get this one, to get anything out of this game.
They had just come back from, obviously, that midweek madness that they had. A few tired players. And again, the referee just didn't make their lives easy at all. Clear red card.
Clear
red card
as day, bro.
It doesn't get clearer than that. That is a straight red card if I've ever seen one. He looks at his face, goes, oh, there is his face, and he swings his elbow at him. Referee might not see it, linesman may not see it, fourth official may not see it, but there's cameras everywhere and there's a dedicated team stopping and pausing the frame for every transition made. How the fuck don't you see that? How the fuck don't you see it? It's ridiculous. And it's like what, the second or third case we're seeing in Serie A already this season where the VAR room gets it wrong.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's a bit depressing, to be honest. Juve's plan this game, by the way, bro, was to dominate the middle. They used Locatelli as a pivot to orchestrate play while Thuram maintained the intensity and support in both phases. The key strategy included to kind of create overloads on the left through Cambiaso and João Mario, stretching Verona's back five, and exploiting Nelson in one-on-one situations with vertical balls to Vlahovic and David. Invisible this game, by the way.
Totally.
Yeah, the Verona reacted by literally pushing Jovan and Orban into the middle and crowding the middle and making it an absolute nightmare for Juve. I'm a real big fan of this Verona defense. Nunez looks like one hell of a player. Freze's injury wasn't serious because he played this game, he even tested the keeper from a distance at the end. And Nelson is playing very well as well. Had a good game,
and I like this Verona side. And we spoke about this last time. They cause trouble, this Verona team. They have certain nice pieces. I particularly like Bernadette, whatever, man. In midfield, I like Jovain and Orban, albeit he's public enemy number one at the moment. Fucking, that's the kind of guy you want on your side, you know, someone that's wreaking havoc in that way.
Let me summarize Orban's game. Gift Orban is his name. Okay. He shot twice from half pitch in the first half. Immediately. The second one, groans, by the way. The second he did it, like the collective groans all around the stadium. Because you try it once, you're like, okay, maybe he saw the keeper off his line, but twice, come on. He claimed the penalty and scored it with a ridiculous run-up. Let's be real, classic. Di Gregorio got so close to it, he literally touched the ball, but it went in. He celebrated by eating the grass. I'm not quite sure what that was, but he seemed to pick up grass off the floor and eat it, as you can see behind me, or put it in his mouth, or I don't know what that was, to be honest. But what did you make of that? What's he doing?
He ate grass, man.
Yeah, straight up.
As in, like, you know, I've heard of people touching the grass or taking some grass home to remember the moment, but Blood's gonna be pooping that out next morning.
Yeah.
Gift
It's
Orban.
on our screen right now. Wait a second. He elbowed Gatti in the face. He refused to pass in attacking situations, and he took home a point. Gift Orban, more like the gift that keeps on giving Orban.
Yes, thank you. That was obviously very well delivered. Nigerian man, 23 years old. Neck tattoos. I believe he has a diamond tattooed in the center of his neck. And he's got like those not dreadlocks. What are they called? The cornrows, like cornrows all around. Nick, cornrows, the ones
braids,
that are
braids.
like braids, cornrows.
Cornrows are attached to the head, I think, like glued.
Okay,
Then
so no.
Braids are like hanging.
Yes, so braids.
He's
He's got braids.
Yeah.
But he looks like an R&B star or like rapper. And if you have that confidence, you're either a phenomenal footballer or you fuck a lot. And, I think he's an okay footballer, but I think he fucks a lot, man. I think you know. That's my take on Gift Orban.
He seems very confident and out there. Yes, what a guy, what a team for Hellas
Juve
Verona.
also,
and the sporting director is the most underrated in the league.
Of course, because he keeps on finding these little
Gems.
coups, these little gems, and it's not to say that they're making a huge markup of them, but they're good pieces, and this is the first time in a while where I looked at Verona from one season to the next. I'm like, you know what? I don't think they're getting relegated because I think they improved.
Yeah, same.
From last year. I like this team and I like the way they play, and they gave Juve a really tough time. I thought I don't think this was a great performance by any means for Juve. I thought that individually the players just seemed a little bit off, miscontrolling
Fatigue,
passes, not winning their duels, giving shit passes, just misplacing them. It felt like something was off for Juve in this game.
I mean, you could see through Yildiz and Conceição that there was fatigue. You could see it through Thuram, for example, as well, who had an assist and was solid in the assist he gave him the ball.
Didn't count on Fanta.
Yeah, and solid build-up, but through transitions he was overrun, and that's very unlike him. I mean, They are tired. It's normal, and we saw Hellas Verona as well last season come out very strong. I think Zanetti prepares his teams very well through pre-season.
First game 3-0.
First game 3-0. In fact, yes, against
Win
Napoli.
over
last
Napoli.
year. Yeah.
Exactly. All the substitutes that came on, I'm not too sure about Adzic. I didn't really keep an eye on him, but Cope Miners, Openda, David,
Openda
and
was-
Zegrova, I thought they were all bad when they came on.
Yeah. Many mistakes, man. Many heavy touches, misplaced passes, rookie mistakes. To be honest.
Yes, which is quite worrying.
Yeah.
That's worrying.
Yeah, I mean it's growing pains, right? Openda has just arrived. Coop Miners is worrying. That's for sure.
That
Yeah.
100%
Yeah.
worrying.
I mean, Juve dominated this game, right? 72% ball possession, but there are only 5 shots in the last 40 minutes, and that's a telling stat about their lack of punch right now.
Yes, I believe they have Atalanta next now. If I'm not
Yeah, that
mistaken.
would be an
Yes,
interesting
they
one to
have
see where
they
both
have
teams stand.
Atalanta at home. I think Juve can bounce back from this. I think it's interesting when the second that these teams started to play Champions League, we already saw a bit of a drop off from all teams. We saw Napoli who struggled against Pisa, but they technically struggled against Pisa. We saw Inter with a slender victory over Sassuolo. And we saw Juve who dropped points against Hellas Verona now, which just goes to show that without the money to invest in a good deep squad, we're gonna continue seeing these teams struggle. Too early to call it. This might just be a one-off, and these players that they brought in for depth, Coop Miners, Adzic, Openda, David and Zegrova, and when Miretti comes back from injury as well, maybe, just maybe, that they'll put in some good performances.
Absolutely. Some hot stats for you.
Yo.
Zanetti and Tudor had met twice before this game, with, of course, Tudor winning both matches before. So yes, interesting to see Zanetti finally not losing to him. In 2021-2022, Tudor was the coach of Hellas Verona, as many of you know. His record over there, by the way, was 36 games, 14 wins, 11 draws and 11 losses, totaling 53 points in the league and finishing 9th in the standings.
You
Massive
remember
season.
that?
I remember
You
that.
remember that?
Simeone, Amrabat, Rahmani, Zaccani, dude, that team was awesome.
And we were betting, I remember it was a bit after some of those players, but we were betting who's going to finish ahead of who, Sassuolo or Hellas Verona, because they were almost top 10 teams, man. That was a season, huh? That was a period, rather.
Adzic, last week, became the youngest foreign player to score for Juventus in a match against Inter in Serie A history. A bit specific as a stat, but yes.
Oh, it's impressive.
It is,
Youngest foreign player to ever score against Inter for Juve.
In Serie A.
That's interesting. In Serie A.
And Lloyd Kelly is the 4th English player to score in Juve history after Jordan, Platt and Illing Jr.
Oh, wow. Wow. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
That's it.
Brilliant. My turn. Fiorentina 1, Como 2. Very interesting to see Fiorentina switch to a 4-4-2, much like Udinese, whereas Como set up like usual in their 4-2-3-1. Just to say before I get into the lineup, so far Fiorentina have drawn to Cagliari, they've drawn to Torino, they've lost to Napoli, and now they've lost to Como. Como, on the other hand, have beaten Lazio, lost to Bologna, drew to Genoa, and now beat Fiorentina. So, as I said, Pioli's side moved to a 4-4-2 formation with David De Gea on goal and a back four of Gosens, Ranieri, Pongracic, and Dodo. Interestingly enough, again, we saw Comuzzo, the weakest link so far, out of this game. Midfield four of Fazzini, Mandragora, Nicolucci, Caviglia and Lamptey making his starting debut, with Moise Kean and Piccoli up front together, the two Italians. The 4-2-3-1 of Fabregas's men had Boutez in goal and a backline of Smolcic, Carlos, Kempf and Valle. Perrone and Sergio Roberto were in the double pivot, with Voivoda, Paz and Kun playing behind Alvara Matara. In the 6th minute, Mandragora scored, in my opinion, what was the goal of the week. His free kick hit the wall, but he buried the rebound bottom corner with a low curling bullet. Absolutely gorgeous strike. In the 21st minute, Lamptey went off injured with a knee injury, and Fortini, the 19-year-old, came on to replace him. This is particularly worrying as Lamptey had already struggled with a knee injury in May when playing for Brighton. At the end of the first half, there was some VAR drama. Perrone won a foul on the edge of the area, which was initially given as a penalty but overturned to a free kick outside. No damage done from the resulting free kick. In the 65th minute, Como made it 1-1. Paz whipped in a free kick. Kempf outjumped Gosens to head across goal into the corner. A great header by Kempf. And once again, of course, Paz is involved over there. And then the 93rd minute, one of the last actions, Nico Paz again involved, lofted the ball forward. Adai beat Pongracic in a 1v1. Because that's the goal, right? At that stage, get these guys, get these wide players in a one-on-one situation. And he absolutely cooked Pongracic in a 1v1. So light on his feet. Reminds me a bit of a Jeremy Doku of sorts. City's Doku, where it's like, and he absolutely shafted De Gea at his near post. That's a 2-1 victory for Como, their second win of the season. It was a game of two halves completely. Como absolutely dominated the second half. 14 shots to Fiorentina's 2 after the break. There were some good subs by Fabregas, who brought on Jesus Rodriguez, Duvikas and Adai. And those guys changed the game completely.
Absolutely, man. Como do have this in their locker. They have I think they have the largest squad in Serie A, 40 players or something. So they definitely have this option to change the game. Fiorentina are off to a bit of a rough start, to be honest. I'm curious to see the next manager sacked odds in Serie A, to see who would be the likeliest. I'm pretty sure Pioli's name will be in the top 5 because the fans were extremely displeased after this one, especially the fact that, okay, if you're not going to win, just don't lose. That goal at the end was so avoidable, you know.
Completely.
They were stretched. They ended up 1v1 and he completely wiped out his man. Yeah.
And again, struggled to create chances. And it seems to me like Pioli is really insisting with this front two and not really focusing on the service it takes. Not really focusing on servicing whoever it is that he's starting up front, be it Piccoli or Keane or both together. But completely insisting in a two-man up top. I'm seeing Keane play with a partner up front. Man, I don't think Keane is good for a two up top, and I don't think Piccoli is good for a two up top. Firstly, you need synergy and you need harmony between them. Why is it that Keane? I know why it is, because Keane is in desperate need for a goal.
Yes, and you could see that at one point he took the ball to the left, and like you could see he was sprinting for his life and he really wanted that goal. He skied the shot and hyped up. I'm not sure if he was hyping up the fans or venting his frustration, but you could tell he wants it, yes.
And like it's pressure on him because he had such a good season last season, and now Retegui is somewhere in Saudi called Al whatever
Al Adisa
Al-Liba
Al-Madan
and
Miniti Al-Madan.
that's a Maltese and it's a meme. By the way, for anyone thinks we're doing something here. Yes, and Keane clearly has that pressure where he's like, if Retegui's gone, then I need to be the capocannoniere, and he's shooting left, right, and center. Piccoli, on the other hand, is the kind of striker that I think he hit double figures once in the league, and he almost hit double figures last season. But you don't see them linking up. You don't see them playing well together. I don't think they're suited for a two up top. Yeah, Piccoli is a good sub for him.
I think Piccoli should be the replacement for Keane. They should not complement each other. In fact, they do not complement each other. However, Albert Goodmanson is out, and I'm pretty sure Pioli would rather have Albert Goodmanson partnering one of them. than not. And I'm also of the opinion that Piccoli took the step too soon.
I would agree with you there.
You know, I mean,
he had
it's
a
not
good
like
half
he was.
season with Cagliari.
He wasn't the best player at Cagliari. He wasn't, being let down by his teammates. Quite often, he was letting them down. I would say he scored important goals, yes, but he was also quite wasteful. Let's be real.
And it always the midfield left a lot to be desired when it comes to actually winning the ball. Against a side like Como, it's already tricky, but you look at the profiles and there aren't many ball-winning players over there, with Caviglia and Mandragora, two inventive players to say the least, but maybe not exactly the ball winners that are needed in a double pivot. Of course, you did see Fazzini coming in a bit more, but again, not a ball winner. And something else about Fiorentina as well is, so of course they were booed at the end of the game. Like you said,
and they approached the fans. It was like
approached the fans.
A bollocking.
Of course, because Pioli gets them to approach the fans. Pioli has done that for Milan countless times. And they were there in front of the curva, receiving an earful. And you just look, they're being booed by their own fans. Their stadium looks like it's falling to pieces all around because it's still under construction. And it's just all symbolic, right, of the way that Fiorentina's season is going so far. Like in these scenarios, you need your stadium to be packed, and you need to be uplifted by your supporters. Of course, a bollocking is needed in that sense, but at least during the game, it would help if they had a packed fucking crowd. But the fact that half of the stadium can't be filled, and the fact that it looks so derelict, just weird vibes at the moment with Fiorentina.
Pathetic fallacy is what they call it, I believe, if I remember correctly from my Form 3 days. It's when the environment mirrors the current theme of the weather. Yes, the weather specifically.
Gorgeous, guys.
But it's the weather. It's wrong. It wasn't the weather. It was the
fair conditions, I guess.
But alas, my memory fails me.
Fiorentina at least
the
had
problem with Fiorentina is that they don't create, so the fans don't have anything to actually say, like, listen, we were unlucky or anything like that. They actually didn't create goal-scoring chances, which is extremely frustrating.
It's typically just keen running and shooting. But at least they had a good first half. They had a decent first half where I felt like Fiorentina were better than Como, but Como really grew into the game. That second half that they had with those changes that they made and just the change in attitude from the players, it was really, really impressive by them. I think they were helped a little bit by De Gea at the near post at the end, because you have to criticize a keeper when they concede at the near post, and I think he can be criticized over there.
Difficult, right? But yes, technically, in theory, even though he pulled off a pretty good save.
How good was Adai when he came on, man?
Yeah, he's good. I don't know much about. Where did he come from?
I have no idea. He's like Cotton Eye Joe.
Where did he come from? Where did he go? And where did he go? To the near post. Now let's see. Adai. Jaden Adai. He is 20 years old. He's
Dutchman.
Dutch. Yes, left-footed. Of course, that explains it. And he was previously at AZ Alkmaar.
Okay.
Another one of these beasts from the
good
Dutch
talent
league.
that comes out from AZ.
Hey, man.
Reinders, of course.
Just pump them out, man.
Literally. I believe Cope Miners is from there as well, yes.
Yes, but 20 years old, man. That's sick. Como have a lovely project
Classic.
going. And Paz, of course, with 2 assists, technically setting both goals up. Such a pivotal player, man.
And keep in mind, of course, that Diao is out injured.
Yes.
People forget that Diao exists, but he is... he's a starter.
He's a beast.
He starts ahead of Voivoda in that role. He's fantastic.
Ahead of Morat as a punta as well.
As well.
Do anything. Yeah.
And of course, highlight Nico Paz, 2 assists. Jesus Christ. Kemp, as always, good performance. Scored the equalizer over here. So dominant in the air, Kemp. I think I gave him my unsung hero last season for Como. And a good start to the season as well. Some interesting little changes in their team with Kun starting out wide over here. Obviously, I believe he was substituted at halftime, however. But very good start for Como. You could see as well at the end of the game, while Fiorentina were getting a bollocking, they were all They all surrounded Fabregas, and you could hear Fabregas speaking English to them. And he was saying something along the lines of, that is a mistake and we keep doing it again, and we keep doing it again. And then he said something else and they all started cheering and celebrating. So even with a last minute victory, super high expectations by Fabregas. High standards.
Love to see it. We can move on to Bologna 2, Genoa 1. So let's just jump straight into the lineups. For Bologna, it was Skorupski in goal in a 4-2-3-1 system with the Silvestri on the right, Miranda on the left, Vitic and as the centre-back partners, with Freuler and Moro in the middle, Orsolini out wide, Dominguez on the other side, with Bernardeschi playing centrally behind Castro. For those who don't get the Hegem joke, is Hegem.
Exactly.
Genoa mirrored their formation 4-2-3-1 with Leali in goal, Norton, Coffey and Martin as the fullbacks, with Vasquez and Ostigard as the centre-back partnership.
Martin.
Yeah, Martin. Frendrup and Mazzini were the double pivot, with Vitinha on the left, Ellertson on the right and Malinovsky playing off the shoulders of Colombo. So, first of all, I'm going to hit you with a juicy stat, and I'll ask Nick to search for a picture for this, actually, because I'm very curious to know what he looked like. But Vincenzo Italiano played for Genoa from February to June 2005, and he made 9 official appearances for them without scoring.
Jeez
Louise. If Nick can pull up a picture so we see what he looked like, that would be great.
I also have a stat, and it's from that Calcio book that I got.
Oh yes, the John Foot
reading.
book.
Yes, the John Foot book. For those of you that don't know of John Foot and his book Calcio, literally just go buy it now. If you like reading or tolerate reading, but you love Serie A, this is a book you will fly through, man. It's the entire history of Serie A, different cities and their clubs. It gives you everything about Il Grande Torino. It gives you the conception of calcio in Italy. It gives you the Calciopoli scandal. It gives you things you would have never heard of before. And this was one of the things. It was of course, Genoa and Bologna are two of the teams with the deepest history in Serie A. Genoa, I believe, were the first club in Serie A. I forgot the name of the founder, but Bologna came shortly after, and Bologna had this reign of dominance in the I believe 20s and 30s, where there was the rise of Bologna in the post-war era dominance, and before that it was Genoa. And throughout that transition phase in the 1919-1920 season, Genoa and Bologna met in the northern section final, and it was effectively a title decider in those days, since the winners of the north usually went on to win the whole thing. The match ended with absolute chaos. It had to be replayed because of disputes over refereeing, when some fans actually stormed the pitch. In one of those replays, Bologna scored a controversial ghost goal.
Where the ball had never even gone hit the side netting, right?
The ball never crossed the line.
Yeah.
And fans just started shouting goal. They essentially ran onto the pitch and threatened the referee, who awarded a goal.
Oh my God.
Genoa protested furiously, but the referee, who according to accounts was literally threatened, as I mentioned, by the Bologna officials and fans, awarded the goal under duress. The decision stood, Bologna advanced, and Genoa's protests were ignored. And that, my friend, would have been Genoa with 1 star at the top of their badge.
Exactly, and I'm sure back then they were like, oh, no problem, we'll get it soon. And they, of course, never did. This entire time during this story, there has been Italiano playing for Genoa behind us. And you know what, man? I recognize him. That rings a bell.
It's true.
Right?
It's true.
Which
Hey,
means,
Vincenzo.
Yeah, which means that 10-year-old Jake probably saw him, but no. As in, I remember him as a player a bit, I think.
I'm sure there would have been a player called Italiano, and we're like, oh, Italiano. And suddenly he's a great manager.
Yeah, absolutely. But nice to see what he looked like. Also, this is him with hair.
He looks so much kinder with hair.
Yeah.
Look at that, Nick.
With hair, yeah.
Vincenzo
kinda is. So, so this is a bit of a derby historically for the purists.
And that game had to be replayed multiple times. It wasn't just one.
I wonder if the players had any idea about that. But anyway. So in the second minute, Castro headed in Bernardeschi's cross, but the goal was ruled off for offside. Genoa opened the scoring in the 63rd minute when Ellertson combined with Malinowski and finished in the near post. This was a lovely move, nice burst of pace from from Ellertson before kind of disguising a shot. He made it look like he was going to square it, which I love. And then he just rifled it into the roof of the net, rather.
Yeah.
Bologna equalized 10 minutes later. Castro flicked in Cambiaghi's low cross with an audacious outside boot finish. Cambiaghi came on and really changed the game. He was really good, to be honest with you. While Dominguez, while he wasn't terrible, I think Norton Coffey got the better of him.
He's off to a slow start, my boy Benjamin.
Exactly. The drama came in the 90th minute when Orsolini's header hit the underside of the bar, so close to a late winner. But then deep into stoppage time, there was a VAR review that saw Carboni giving away a penalty as he handled the ball. The interpretation of this, the fact that it was a penalty, even though the arm was to the side of the body, was that it was slowly moving towards the ball. And had his arm not been there, would have played an opponent, clean through. Yes. Yeah.
I thought it was harsh. The first time I saw it, the replays obviously slowed down and everything.
Yeah.
It looks like a penalty, right? Because if the arm wasn't there, it would have gone straight to whoever it was running in on the left. It would have been a clear opportunity at goal.
Yes, Vieira sent off for protests and Orsolini converts. So clinical from the
confident, the way that he pauses there, hits it with so much strength and accuracy. Gorgeous.
Yes, agreed. Bologna were sharp in wide areas, feeding Castro, I thought, especially with the substitutes. I thought that Genoa were a little bit reliant on Ellertson, this game. I thought that they played everything through him. Which was a little bit concerning. And this is the second game in a row, by the way, which didn't feature Stanchu. And I'm getting worried now.
Stanchu. Dov'è Stanchu? Mm-hmm. You're right to say that they seem to rely a little bit on Ellertson. You're right to say Bologna were sharp. Let's just keep in mind, however, in the first half, actually, Bologna scored their first goal in the 73rd minute. I thought Genoa did an expert job of not allowing Bologna to create any chances, and I was starting to say, is this Fiorentina's Italiano or is this Bologna's Italiano? Are they really feeling the loss of Dan Ndoye, who I always said Dan Ndoye was super important for the directness of Bologna's counterattacks and of their creation of space.
The introduction of Cambiaghi offered something similar to that, I thought. It really added a bit of pace, a bit of an extra gear for them.
Yes, and then Genoa
and
took
even
the
Zortea
lead.
entered well, sorry.
And Genoa took the lead in the 63rd minute. So I think up until obviously that Castro goal after Cambiaghi came in and changed the game, I was really, really impressed by Genoa, who make it really awkward and difficult for every single team that they play. You'll never see them get fucking mauled.
It's true. They have a very balanced and complete team. Not so sure about Colombo personally. I loved Colombo when he was younger. I thought he was an ox of a striker, very powerful, very big.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the strides he's taking to improve his game, they're not strides, they're baby steps. And it's just one mech game against another, after another. And you need to start scoring more than 5-6 goals a season.
And it's a shame because they had a striker like Pinamonti that worked for them really well last season. He hasn't really worked like that for Sassuolo yet, but obviously he needs to get back into it. But if Genoa don't have that reference point up top, I feel like they can struggle. Who is his vice? Is it
Vitinha.
Caleb Ekuban?
Well, Vitinha can do it. Ekuban can do it. Also, Ekator, I guess. But Ekator is more of a winger. But they have so many players who play behind the striker. Junior Messias, Stanchu, Thorsby was playing behind the striker last season. Gronbach, who's been brought in. These guys all play behind the striker. Even Carboni.
Messias can play there as well.
Yeah.
Maxwell Cornet, who's out injured at the moment.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition for those spaces. But yes, very important victory for Bologna, because the narrative would have been completely different had they not won. Because now they find themselves with 6 points, which isn't terrible, you know.
They grinded out that
on
win,
par
man.
with Inter.
They grinded out that win. I did not think they were going to win that game. Stroke of luck with the handball and the penalty at the end, but they did well. It took a lot to win that.
Absolutely, yes. Shall we?
Yes, sir. Next up is Atalanta's 8 minutes in heaven with Torino, and boy oh boy did they have their way with them in those 8 minutes. Jesus, I'm a poet. Atalanta has just played PSG and they lost. And Atalanta also have a few injuries. Let me go through Torino's lineup first. Israel in goal, 3-4-2-1 formation. Ismaili, Maripan and Cocoa at the back, with Lazaro on the right, Biragi on the left, double pivot of Aslani and Ilic. Vlasic and Abuklal played behind Cholito Simeone. For Atalanta and their somewhat decimated side, Carnesecchi in goal, backline of Kusunu, Hien and Jim City, Zappa Costa on the right, Zalewski on the left, and the double pivot of Deron and Pasalic, with Samardzic and Sulemana playing behind Kristovic. Of course, out injured for now, we have Gianluca Scamacca, Ederson, Kolasinac, Bakker. I didn't even know Bakker was there.
Yeah, he's back.
De Ketelare, and I didn't know Scalvini's injured again. That is a shame, man. Arem! He's gonna pour water all over my papers, man.
Scalvini must have picked up a knock last game. I don't know.
Perhaps, man. And
I'll look into that.
at the start of this game, immediately, almost, Zalewski off injured, and Zalewski was really good in their last game, causing havoc down the left, and Hien off injured as well.
Yeah, that's quite a crisis, huh?
It is one hell of a crisis already so early on the season. But anyway, 30th minute.
He was forced to leave the pitch after 10 minutes against PSG, Scalvini.
Okay.
Yes.
Fuck, man. I
I'm
like
not
him
sure
so
as
much.
to the extent of the injury. Left the field holding the flexor muscle in his right leg, which was clearly in pain. The condition, 48 hours was instrumental tests. According to Sky Sport, the Atalanta defender has suffered a minor injury to his right adductor, an injury that will keep him out for at least 15 days.
The adductor and abductor injuries in footballers are like the common cold of injuries.
At least so it's not that deep.
I might be talking absolute smack there, but someone at the gym told me that when I was doing abductor and adductors.
So
like, you play football? I'm like,
bring
no.
it onto
It's
the
like,
pod.
are you a woman? I'm like, no. Like, then you shouldn't be doing those. I'm like, all right. Never did them again. 30th minute, on the half-hour mark, Samardzic sets up Nikola Kristovic, who sweeps in first time from 12 yards, his first goal for the club after getting several assists already. Just 4 minutes later, Samardzic's effort hit the post. His rebound, it laid off to Zappa Costa on the rebound, and Kamaldeen Sulemana finished it off. And then, just 4 minutes later, again, in the 38th minute, Sulemana rolled a low cross from the left to Kristovic for his second, wrapping up the first half blitz. In the second half, in the 73rd minute, Torino had a penalty. Duvan Zapata stepped up and to be honest, a bit of a bullshit attempt, which was easily saved by Carnesecchi. And then the final minutes, it was the return of Adamola Lookman, who received like a mixed reception and mixed reactions on social media. I think Atalanta fans, you have Lookman.
Yeah.
Whether it's for 6 months, whether it's for a year, you have Lookman. And I think there are tougher things to deal with in the world than having Adamola Lookman.
Who needs Adamola Lookman when you have Kamadeen the Dream, bro?
Bro, Kamadeen cooked in this
He
game,
cooked.
man.
He's good.
Kamadeen.
I'm telling you, man. Juric knew him from Southampton. He was one of the only players who actually played decently during his spell there. So nice to see him translating that into Serie A.
Yeah, he had a a good game. On the other side of Kamadin, Samardzic had a bit of a fun time. Absolutely roasting Biragi and Ismaili, bro. He was just cooking them up and cooking them up and cooking them up. Two goals came from that side, and I saw Biragi tracking back for one of those goals, man. I'm like, that might as well be Brian Kamenzuli of Hamrun on the left.
Surely, Biragi can't play wing back, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I see what the vision is, you know, but
his legs aren't exactly there, are they?
he cannot track back. And you're seeing him running back. I don't even know if he's trying his hardest the way that he was running back. And he was signaling to Ismaili to press the runner, or
Lazy
to press
play.
the player off the ball. And I don't
Or
know,
tired
even
play.
he slid in the 30-something minute, man. He slid in to intercept a ball, completely missed it, and he stayed on the ground, man, getting up slowly. It's like he's at the beach and he's getting up to go grab a panina for his girlfriend, like he doesn't want to. And they conceded in that way, not pinning it completely on him. Torino have a habit that if they concede a goal, it's really easy for them to concede another and concede another and concede another because they lose their heads.
Yeah.
We saw them lose 5-0 to Inter as well.
They haven't scored at home, Torino, in 370 minutes.
Jesus. 370 minutes they haven't scored at
Yes,
home.
yes.
9, 18,
Their
27,
last
36.
goal
That's 4 games.
Was Vlasic's penalty in the 77th minute against Venezia.
So last season.
Yes.
Last season. They haven't scored at home yet this season.
They haven't
then.
scored at home yet this season. no,
Jesus.
in fact. Yeah, that's it. They played against Fiorentina earlier, 0-0.
How many
Yes.
goals have they scored this season so far, Torino?
You want to know the truth or a lie? One. They've scored one against
One.
Roma.
And they conceded
5.
8.
Yeah.
No, more.
No, because Roma was a 1-0 victory and Torino was a 0-0.
yes. Okay.
So, yes.
Okay. We have to keep in mind that they also beat Roma earlier on.
Yes.
They have had really tough fixtures to start the season, but at home to let your opponents get the better of you in those 8 minutes just absolutely goes to show that they can be exploited. But this is a
Yes,
team that really
yes.
can be exploited.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just a bit of history on Baroni and Juric. They faced each other 7 times now, and Baroni has never beaten Juric, and there was only 1 draw.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, so Baroni is a bit of Juric is a bit of a bogey manager
Yes.
for Baroni.
Yes. Of course, Torino's fans, from the very first whistle to the last whistle, Cairo, devi vendere vattene, protesting the ownership. There is a bit of a weird atmosphere there as well, and the fans booed them as well, the final whistle. This is their, I believe, 3rd manager in 3 seasons. Of course, growing pains for Torino as always. When it comes to Atalanta, I think they did a really good job at smelling that blood and having that killer instinct in them. It's good to see the 3 players that don't typically start, right? You've got Samardzic on one side, you've got Kamadin Sulemana on the other side, and then you've got Kristovic down the middle, who's typically Scamacca, plays instead of him. Typically Maldini plays on the left, and typically have De Ketelare on the right. And those 3 substitutes put in a killer performance over here, and they caused so much trouble. They have a very deep team moving forward. I think after this, we might not see so much of Maldini, and we might see more of Kamadin on the left.
I think so. I think so, because Maldini's not having a good time as of late. He's another player who took the jump too soon. Also, let's highlight, bro, Kristovic, under the radar completely, has managed 2 goals and 3 assists.
In
so far
fucking
this
4
season.
games.
In
dude.
4 games.
In 4 games.
That's a good record, man. So that's a great start for him.
And that was,
Kristovic.
we knew that was a great signing for Atalanta, right? Who needed someone to play whatever fiddle with Scamacca, whether he's going to be fit, whether he's not. But Nikola Kristovic is the kind of guy of, if your starting striker isn't fit, fear not.
Yeah.
You've got someone like Kristovic who knows how to score a goal. It tends to be a bit streaky with it, but Good
He
consistency
tends
so
to be
far.
streaky with it at Lecce, one of the worst teams in the league, who he
Yeah.
probably kept up on his own last season. Let's be honest, on his own. There were a few moments, Koulibaly had his, Ramadani,
Mhm.
but of course Kristovic scored more than half their goals, or contributed to like 70% of their goals or
Yeah.
something. When it comes to Kristovic and his game, we've never seen him play with such good players. And
Mhm.
honestly, we're seeing the best out of him. And this is a player who was right to make the jump. We often talk about players not being ready for the next step, like Piccoli, for example.
Mhm.
Piccoli was doing nothing compared to what Kristovic was doing for
Uh.
Lecce, But anyway.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. I'm happy to move on. I just feel like I have one more thing to say.
Was it Duvan Zapata? That
Yes.
penalty sucked,
The
bro. That
penalty
was a
sucked, and obviously against his former team.
Yeah.
You could tell he didn't look entirely confident stepping into that, eh?
Yeah. I wonder if it's like, no, he would have wanted to score, but he's stepping up to take a penalty after he had been out for a long time. Hasn't
It's
scored
just
since
bad
his return.
juju, eh? You
Yeah.
either have the return of the X, what is it in Italian
Il
again?
ruolo dell'ex.
Il ruolo dell'ex, or you have the fucking performance anxiety against your ex.
Yes.
You either have, okay, there's a better way to put it. With your ex, you either have performance anxiety or you have the best sex of your life. And Duvan Zapata has performance anxiety against his ex.
You agree, Nick?
I agree.
He agrees.
I wanted to just warn you guys because Milan start at 9 and it's 8.
8:18.
Quarter past 8.
Okay,
Quarter
okay.
past 8, let's speed it up.
Thank you. Yes, because
Thank you,
Milan
brother.
exactly start at 9 o'clock today, and we obviously want to watch that. Do you have any games remaining?
I
I've
have
got
one.
one. All right,
I've got
nice.
one that's a 0-0.
Okay. So let's go into Lecce Cagliari. This was a 2-1 victory for the Sardinians away from home, and it was a Bellotti brace to fire the Sardinians up the table. Absolutely love Cagliari. So for Lecce, it was Falcone and goal na 4-3-3 with Kwasi, Gaspar, Gabriel and Gallo at the back. Koulibaly, Ramadani and Sala were in the middle with Pierotti, Stolic and Sotil up front. For Cagliari, it was Caprile and goal in a 3-5-2 formation with Yerimina, Luperto and Oberta at the back, Foloruncio on the left, Palestra on the right, and Deola, Prati and Adopo in the middle. Gallo Bellotti was up front, partnered with Sebastiano Esposito.
Following this game, Cagliari also won in the Coppa Italia, dismantling Frosinone with the score of 4-1. Udinese, following the Milan game, also won in the Coppa Italia with the score of 2-0 over Palermo. At least that's how it stands right now in the 90-plus minute.
Wow, 2-0 over Palermo's solid.
Very
they're,
nice.
They're a decent team.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lecce struck early, and it was Thiago Gabriel who headed in Ricardo Sotil's cross in the 5th minute. Sotil completely wiped out Esposito with a dribble, and Esposito did the classic schoolyard thing. When you get dribbled, he pretended to get injured. He grabbed his thigh, he limped a bit, and
I could have got him, but I hurt.
I was gonna chase him, but my leg. Yeah, hilarious.
Sotil, that's what Sotil can do on his day. Just get him
that's what he
behind,
gives you. He
whipping
drives
a Giatti.
to the byline. That's
Mhm.
it. Cagliari equalized 28 minutes later after Gabriel gifted Bellotti a tap-in. This was Bellotti's first goal for Cagliari in just his second appearance. Yes, this was a very well-worked goal, to be honest with you. And then deep into the second half, Bellotti converted a penalty that was also Gabriel's foul to put Cagliari ahead 20 minutes from full-time.
Another win for Cagliari, brother.
Another
2
win.
on the trot in the league, 3 on the trot if you're counting Coppa Italia.
Yeah, absolutely. They are doing very well. They adapt nicely to games. In fact, in this game, they started off shakily, Cagliari, and they struggled to build from the back, and they left a lot of space down the right. So Pisacane made some key adjustments. He moved Adopo deeper, acting as kind of like a hybrid right back to free Palestra to push forward and create space for Esposito between the lines. This kind of turned Cagliari into a 3-5, from a 3-5-1-1 to a flexible 4-2-3-1 formation. So there was that nice bit of in-game management from the young manager himself. Palestra then became the main outlet, and he went on to stretch Lecce and supply many balls into the box. And then, of course, they brought on Gaetano, Felici, of course, they allowed more from the left. Felici is a very tricky and nifty player as well. And out of possession, they dropped more into a 5-3-2 with Folarunshaw working as an extra wing back. And they defended deep on set pieces as well. They're a very resolute side, tactically, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, I was surprised that Lecce got the lead so early on. Of course, it was a moment of brilliance by Sotil, and Gabriel was in the right place in the right time, but it's no secret that Lecce have really struggled so far this season, whilst Cagliari, on the other hand, are the class is above them, at least from what we've seen for the time being. They're just a team that has this certain harmony about them, a team that has its strengths and a team that knows its strengths and have a leader that they admire. They have a good fan base, and just everything seems to be working for them. And that's testament to, on an away day, when they managed to get back into the game in the south of Italy, in the heat, with Lecce fans all around you, to be able to get the victory like that, with Gallo Bellotti coming back, getting the doppietta after he flopped at Como, he flopped at Roma, he went to Benfica and he flopped over there, but still to this day one of the highest scoring active Italian players in Serie A.
Yes,
comes back, gets a doppietta, which is great, because if the Cagliari, who just lost Piccoli, can get the best out of Bellotti, that is a potential upgrade for them.
Yes, and they hit the post twice through Esposito, who looks amazing, man, on his day. This guy looks so... He plays so well.
He really does, man.
He
really does.
So good, man. And he was so unlucky to not score. They would have both been great goals.
Tricky, smart, good vision, ambidextrous, man. Around the area, if Sebastiano has the ball, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Good saves, of course, by both Falcone and Caprile. That's the classic. Tete Morente missed a bit of a big chance through a diving header. And... yeah, that's pretty much it for this game. Lecce, for me, tragic start. I'm finding it hard to find positives. I mean, now Milan play them in 30 minutes, and knowing that I've just said that, there's going to be the positive there. So we'll see.
Yeah, but I doubt it, man. I look at their team, I look at their manager, I look at the way they play.
Do you think they'll even try this game? Because the last thing they want is more fixtures.
Yes,
what's their lineup? Well, their lineup should be out. Let's have a look.
I almost vomited again, man. That's the third time this episode.
Bro, this is extremely concerning.
What was I gonna say? I'm sure if they win this game, they get a certain amount of money, which will be good for the team.
Well, yeah. Let's see their lineup. Oh, they've benched their keeper. They're playing Cybert at the back in Daba.
And they're starting Camarda. I know exactly how this is going to go, bro. I know exactly how this is going to go.
Yeah.
His first goal against his parent club.
What a goal by the young boy.
Listen to me, Patrick. He played the ball through the inside so good with back to where the turn he shoot.
Look here, Camarda.
Well said, Manuel. Brilliant. That's a snippet. So we jump to the last game. Let's go. My back is hurting, man. Cremonese 0, Parma 0. We've been Serie A spotlight.
0, Parma ham.
I'm up. So Cremonese, of course, we all know they're still unbeaten to this point. On the other hand, Parma haven't won a single game. Cremonese lined up in their 3-5-2. Of course, Vardy is injured at the moment. He was in the stands looking really dapper and cool. Audero was in goal. Back three of Bianchetti, Baschirotto and Terracciano. Pezzella on the left, Zerbino on the right. Midfield three of Van de Putte, Bondo and Colo Colo, with Sanabria and Vasquez up front. I love this team. And even 36-year-old Vasquez up front. So cool.
Don't finish. I'll make this point later.
3-5-2 also for Cuesta's men. Zion Suzuki in goal, backline of Del Prato, Circati and Ndai. Almqvist on the right, Valerio on the left. Midfield three of Sorensen, Bernabe and Keita. with Cutrone and Pellegrino starting up front together. Not much to note on the play-by-play. I will say that Pellegrino smacked the woodwork with a really powerful header early on. And Jake, can you pull up the highlights and find for me which player of Cremonese had that looping shot towards the end? We saw it because we were watching the game with Cesco and the boys. There was this looping effort, curving in and out. I forgot who had the crack over there, but it was
yes, I recall.
it had Zion squabbling back. It was towards the end of the game.
This must be it.
That must be.
Yeah,
oh,
that's it. That's
my
it. Who's that?
dog.
So 1 sec, clearance there. The 20.
Number 20.
Oh, what an audacious attempt. He almost caught him off his line.
Man,
huh?
he did. Number 20, that's Franco Vasquez,
Franco
bro.
Vasquez, there
Franco
we go.
Vasquez.
Dybala's former partner in crime.
Yes, 36
Blew
year
my
old
mind
top
when Matthias
scorer
had reminded me
last
that,
year.
man. It's almost like I saw a ghost.
Oh, Matthias is a encyclopedia, man.
Yes.
But this is pretty much what I expected, at least from this game, because Parma, they have it in them to dominate opponents that are somewhere around their wavelength.
Yeah.
Because they've got a manager with ideas, and they've got a manager that has really structured them in a sound way defensively. They have clear patterns of play moving forward. They just lack that final touch, which is surprising considering they have two strikers like Pellegrino and Cutrone, who I think once they get going, we're going to see a different Parma to this.
Cutrone is lively. He just needs it to hit the back of the net, man.
Yes,
He's been
even
quite happy.
Pellegrino.
Yeah.
Pellegrino smacked the woodwork
Yeah,
with that header. But you could see that Parma, you could start to see slowly the kind of
shape.
team that they're striving to be, with
Yeah.
their shape, with their patterns of play. They looked very positive in this game. I thought they were the much better team.
They
in
were,
this game.
and Cremonese, this is what I was going to interrupt your lineup, Reed, to say. It seems that they won back-to-back in the first two match days. They beat Milan, they beat Sassuolo, right?
Mhm.
And then they played two technically relegation rivals. And maybe the fact that they picked up 6 points from the get-go makes them play for the draw. Because this game and the game before against Hellas Verona, I'm sorry, Cremonese didn't come out to win. So they're prioritizing not losing at the moment. I don't know if maybe this is them waiting for Vardy or I don't know. Bonazzoli didn't play this game either. So maybe they just prioritize, let's not lose to Parma. And, and we'll see from there.
I always find it hard to kind of accept that, because surely they must fancy themselves against a Verona, against a Parma. But with that being said,
But then a loss is extremely
I
detrimental.
completely see that, and then that a loss is detrimental. At the point, it's like they're stacking points. They're stacking points at the moment because they know if they receive a certain amount of points by the halfway point of the season, then they can not essentially take their foot off the gas, but they can reduce that risk margin and kind of try new things and try to grow as a team and build something a bit sustainable to stay in Serie A. Defensively, they were sound.
Yes.
Defensively, they were very sound, Cremonese. At a point, bro, Hafan had an opportunity to score, and Baschirotto's massive shoulders got in the way, kind of that Lukaku in the Champions League final thing.
I was going to say as well, this Cremonese side, now is the time to rack up these points, because later on in the season, as we've seen in the past few seasons, bro, I don't know if you agree with me, but the top teams, once they get their groove, kind of like halfway, 3/4 through the season, they stop losing. We've seen it there was one time Milan and Roma. They weren't even in the top 4. They went on a stretch the last 10 games of the season, both pushing for that fourth spot. It becomes much tighter. The teams figure themselves out. January upgrades improve the top sides more than the bottom sides, for example. So this is the time to rack up these points. And the fact that they're still unbeaten is massive for a team that's newly promoted.
And also, I have to say the importance, this is their second clean sheet this season as well.
Yeah.
Of course, it wasn't a clean sheet against Milan, and of course, it wasn't a clean sheet against Sassuolo, who have one of the best tridents in the league. But against these teams, against Verona, against Parma, they did well. They got 2 points against them. Cremonese still find themselves. Are they top 4? They must be top 4.
They are in 6th.
They're in 6th.
With 8 points.
So at the moment, we have them in
4
playing
points off first.
Europa League football. But not much to add over there. Cremonese are clearly a very street-smart team, and they're being led by Captain Street Smart himself, Davide Nicola, so we'll definitely see more of that. When it comes to Parma, a bit more of a work in process. We know that they're solid off the ball and they have a solid shape. We know that they have ideas. Now it's time to start putting their chances away, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to correct you, work in progress, but work in process also works.
I said work in process.
That
That's
works.
why I start riffing, bro.
This is when you start freestyling, man.
Yep.
A
Brother, shall we take it away with the wisdom, with the wank? I'm also going to go back and say Palermo scored in the 93rd minute. So it's Udinese 2, Palermo 1. Who scored for Palermo? Shit, you're making me reopen it, bro. Peda.
Okay.
You know who he is?
Nope.
Not even me.
All right. So,
So-
do you have the quote?
Somewhere. I sent it to Nick, so I'm just going to pull it up.
There it
Okay.
is. Nice.
So we have Simi. This was posted on the 19th of June, 2023.
It looks cool there. Huh?
Irrespective of what your feelings are, just know that this too shall pass, 'cause it always does. Just wait it out with kindness and positivity. Graceful week ahead. We've all heard this before.
Righteous.
This too shall pass.
Yes.
And when do we say this too shall pass?
When you're losing to Inter 4-0 and you're Marco Baroni.
This too shall pass. Now flip that.
Mhm.
Milan won the league.
This
We're
too
out
shall-
there celebrating in Hamrun.
Yeah.
This too shall pass.
Yes. Everything becomes a memory.
This will all.
Become
Pass.
a memory. Yes, everything. Everything will pass except for Gift or Ban.
And Moise Keane.
Yes. We have been your hosts.
Jake.
And Matt. Wait. Everyone confuses us. We should just start swapping names.
Guys, we're going to go watch Milan. Catch
Yes.
you next week. Love you all. Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye.
If you like Serie A or have ever liked it in the past, it's a good opportunity for you to listen once a week and you'll get filled in.
The football weekend, that's like the main dish. But then a few days later, you drop your episode and that's like the dessert. And the dessert is just perfect.
It's good, the cake.
It makes it feel like we're all sitting in a room together, just BSing with each other.
The atmosphere is fantastic.
I promise nobody will ask you to send boob pics.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
I love how you go into so much detail and show so much passion towards each and every team. Literally, no team is left undiscussed.
When I listen to you, it's like I'm talking to you in a pub. It's like I'm chatting to a friend and you're chatting to me.